calling. It's a bit all over the place, but peeping seems really, really solid to me. I think this kid has quite a bright future.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy, he's been flexing between a lot of different positions as well within the last year or so, trying to cut it in the top scene of North America and push for even further beyond that into organizations as well as outside of what was once the Timberman crew into your Nouns, into now your Wildcard, into trying to make himself his own entity for the future of North American Counter-Strike and not just another flash in the pan, perhaps, right? And now that you've got two of those North American young guns in him and JBA, you can start to say to yourself, well, what is ideal as far as our composition will now go where Stanislaw is reintegrated into the picture? Will Peeping be given some of those freedoms? Because lately, I've been seeing him actually given a little bit more in terms of aggressive responsibilities in the last 2 days or so, 3 days or so, and witnessing the NRG match in particular. His opening kills were absolutely incredible and, frankly, not something that I'd come to know him for. So that's a pretty good sign for me if he is going to be given a multitude of different responsibilities in this team down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Ted as well for Wildcard. This is a side that do still have individuals that can be really scary. I mean, obviously JBA is one of them, but Friend also has some decent moments on the orb too.
They did the thing.
They did the thing as well. There is that Overpass pick coming through. Let's move attention to the Veto here, Ted. Mirage, Overpass, and Dust 2. Give me your thoughts. Give me your feelings.
I'm quite happy about it. I was giving you a bit of a word before we got into the broadcast. I really wanted to see that M80 Overpass pick come in. I feel like they've been playing quite well on it lately, and it's been a really strong side for them. The Veto in general is incredibly uncomfortable for a Wildcard, right? Because they've been picking into Nuke the last couple of games that they've played, but this is the permanent ban of M80, so you were never going to get it. So you're looking at Overpass, you're looking at Ancient, two of the best maps of M80, and then if we go to a third and final one, it would be a Dust 2. But looking at the initial 2 maps, unless Wildcard are able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and I feel like that aligns with what you were saying just about there about the individuals on the side of Wildcard. Unless they go absolutely crazy, I don't feel like from a team aspect with all the shade that's been thrown over this lineup with the changes in the last couple of weeks, they should be able to tactically compete with M80. I think their opportunity is to try and make the game as scrappy as possible, try and quote-unquote free ball it, and just hope for the best. Hope that someone hits a really good game. Hope that Friend is going to step it up on the op. Hope that Peeping is going to have a good performance, and obviously hope for JBA and Sonic to be solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony, we getting that Overpass. How you feeling that this map coming through? It's actually, on paper, it looks really, really solid for M80.
Well, I will say that in terms of momentum, they are coming off a pretty decent win against NRG yesterday, Wildcard, that they can look pretty hopeful for. If we're going to talk about recency bias, and maybe they might be riding a little bit of a high, there's a world where if they get an early start, they can get it, rolling. But again, it's always going to be a conversation of the underdogs, right? Like Wildcard going into this are going to be considered that. And if we're going to talk about Overpasses, the end-all be-all of the series, I think that would be a little disingenuous, considering that we were talking about Peeping a minute ago, and also he's the head-to-head player, and he's one of the better Ancient players in the scene, in my opinion, actually, on Ancient. I think he's really good at taking a lot of advantages in instances where players may get one. He'll find maybe two in really hard spots. So I'm really interested to see what he'll be able to bring to the table with that momentum on Overpass, but more importantly on that Ancient.
Sure. Ted, I mean, the one thing I'm throwing out to question, and I'll throw it to both of you, so Tony, feel free to follow, is what are the win factors for both of these two sides, right? How are we going to find ways to overcome it? I think probably in particular for Wildcard coming in as the underdogs.
Yeah, I feel like, as I already mentioned, individual performance has to be there, right? Wildcard needs to go into this game knowing that fundamentally they're probably the team with less time to prepare properly for this game. They need to go into this one hoping that the individuals step it up. So it's just the same old yada, 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 right? They win the pistols, they win the conversions, they don't lose silly rounds against pistols, and they hope that some of their individuals pop off. I feel like this is the most simple way to describe this. And I guess the one bonus side that Wildcard have going into this one is that they know each other quite well. And I mean Wildcard and obviously M80. They've played against each other quite a lot, even though the last time they actually did see that matchup was at the start of April. I still feel like Stan should have some knowledge on how M80 like to approach the game. So maybe use all of that to try and make it a bit more scrappy.
Tony, how are we feeling? Well, win factors for you for both sides.
Sure. I think if we're just going to continue on with the wildcard discussion before M80, my win conditions are frankly that Friend is going to be able to compete with Slacks in any capacity. I think that he's a player who we could say is pretty much a leg above most North American oppers in many instances. But if we're going to compare him to somebody like Slacks, who has international experience as well as now a lot of that regional North American experience over these guys, I'm going to give it to Slacks every day of the week typically. And this is going to have to be something that has to change early, because what that enables is a really easy way forward for the riflers if Friend is above Slacks, which isn't going to be an easy thing to do, but that's what I'm going to lean into.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like this game is about to get underway here. It's a grand final here for the Thunderpick World Championship North American Series 2. This is for one of the last spot, if I'm right in saying, as well, through the qualifier. So it's all coming down to this, and we're getting ready to get this show on the road. Of course, we do have that overpass to come through in just a little bit, which I'm quite excited for. I have not caught M80 on it personally, but we're going to kickstart things, of course. They're ancient to follow that, dust to round out if required. And fellas, as we get in, I'll start with you, Ted. Give me your predictions. Who's winning? What score?
2-0 M80, man. I don't see a world that Wildcard do post up too big of a fight, and I am sorry to say bye-bye, Neil, but we'll see you a little bit later on, and I'm gonna still wait to show from Tony for a little while. You're gonna have to give me your prediction in just a little bit and pretend that you actually believe Wildcard will win.
All good. Sounds good to me, but look at that. Wildcard, I mean, they're already starting off pretty smooth. It's this B-bomb site that is being held well. Stan in the waters below, requiring Peeping to hold his elevated angles, in which he also has a player short dispatched of. Stan is gone. Peeping now needs to pull in. All of a sudden, turn onto its head. Friend, where are you? Because I'm going to need you at my hip soon enough.
No kid in the equation. Utility not present either. You gotta hit some crisp shots, and Peeping is looking for Hex, does it right now. Gotta find him in the water, able to find the first one. Looking for a second now. This is becoming a lot more doable. Peeping doubles up, trying to get another one, but Slacks goes in huge with the pit 250. Important one, and now he realizes he can actually play the time. There's no kid involved. Friend, tap on the bomb. There goes the head-to-head, and the pistol round, and Friend is a little bit quicker to give Wildcard the pistol. He's got plenty of time for the defuse. Wildcard get the first one on the board.
He may not be going toe-to-toe with Slacks on the AWP just yet, but in the pistol round, the all more important to kick this series into high gear, he will triumph and deny him a 4K. That is massive as far as their start on a CT side will be concerned. They can build up their economy. They can build up a little bit of momentum, as we were talking about in that pre-show, which was I was kind of hearkening on as another one of their win cons, and so far, so good. A buyback, though, and Slacks getting the AK-47 thanks to the kills he procured.
You know what's the fun thing that I found out about M80? Well, not found out. It's literally how their games have been going. But they've played 6 overpasses since the map came back on, right? They have not conceded more than 9 rounds yet. All of them in North America, right? But Wildcard is a North American side in the end of the day. So Overpass has been looking like M80's bread and butter, right? Wins over Chicken Coop. You mentioned that one over the Polish side of Kaleshi during Philadelphia 19. Over another one over Regain, getting info Blue Jays, and another one over getting info early on here in the Thunderpick World Championship. So Overpass has been their bread and butter. Overpass is apparently the one map that they will try and put a lot of emphasis on. And this is something that I find quite precarious, the fact that for German Counter-Strike, Overpass has always been a really good map. And obviously you've got Sin and Slacks on that lineup. Apparently an in-game leader that feels comfortable with it. Big Academy used to play a whole lot of Overpass back when Sin was still their IGL.
Back in the day, now Gramps is in-game leading across seas. I'm just kidding, he's not old in the slightest, but he's come a long way, you know, through that Academy system and then into the big main project, and now leading them in through these mid-sides of the map with the bomb and bathrooms. They're ready to make their execution happen towards A, but they're giving a lot of credence in towards this B push to where when both players fall, Wildcard have really no other option but to go diving down through the steps. And then Sonic, realizing that something may be afoot, leaves them to their own devices, thinking they can do it on their own. Only one spotted, and I think that Sonic might have the read.
You still have to be on high alert, though. You spotted one guy throwing in utility. You got to be careful about monsters, so the rotations are going to be a little bit slower. Sonic gets the first one tapping away, though, is Sin with the Tech 9, and that will secure the bomb site at least for the plant.
No retake utility whatsoever. No Molly for that default position. No flash to set up either one of them. And Stanislaus on a long con, wrapped back through their spawn. Friend has gotten his back off the wall. Will that be enough to even secure a singular kill? Look at how poised these M80 players are. They're not ready to give up anything that they don't have to. Playing for that bomb, and Sin being as low as he was, he's going to be the point of support.
Yeah, trying to take some of that attention away with the flash. You got to close into distance. Got to try and find the first one. There goes Friend going down. Hex with the repeat. Stan is good just for the one, but M80 hold on, and they make that force by work.
Didn't actually get to catch the double kill from Slacks. I believe it was him towards that B site, or maybe only just the one of them, but ever important, man. I mean, it really just sends them spiraling, and chaos will ensue, forfeiting so much forward map control that they otherwise had. See that they were working up long while that was going on with the bomb on the back of one, just joined by, I believe, Sin. And they're giving a lot of responsibility over to those B pressures. Hex surfing down and sending himself into connector. not going too far in case they were going to go for anything aggressive. It's a lot slower than that for Wildcard, and that's because they don't really have a whole hell of a lot to set up other than a singular flash. Friend may activate them later on.
Yeah, grouping up in towards that short area here. The pistols, the one SMG, looking to pounce, try and catch those T's off guard in the close range fights. There was a couple of rules back in the day, though, when you were playing Overpass, especially in CSGO. I say back in the day. It hasn't been gone for too long. I mean, a little while, but not like 5-6 years, you know. But still, some of the old school manuals were whenever there's pistols on the other side, you don't go short or connector. Or if you go connector, you use all the utility in the world possible. And that's exactly what M80 is trying to stick to right now, setting up for a bit of an A play by the looks of things. But Wildcard have been given plenty of time to rotate back 4 people in towards that A-bomb site. Setting up, M80, got to be really careful with this one.
Yeah, another one where they're just going to be taking their time in toilets and making sure nobody's going to get the drop on them. Like to see that Lake clearly going to be the one at the point of the charge, but as their clears go deeper and deeper beyond, it's Wildcard who actually walked it up. They tried as their weapons will allow them to be a dangerous threat, but now when they're made entirely known, there's nothing they can do when Lake is running them through. Mac-10 wants a little bit extra cash, elevates himself to find even a third, and this is about as good as it will get as a Returnal. Not even a singular fatality, a singular.
That's a good one. You know what? I actually do appreciate you, because usually being the non-native English speaker, I am the one to come up with words. So I do like it when other people do it as well.
Dude, I be putting 2 words together on accident all the time because I don't know which one to use, and it ends up sounding like a real one. It's happened before. I accidentally discovered a word by doing that at one point. I forget what it was, but
I've got a discovery to share with you.
Okay.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, me and another caster whose name shall not be named for the sake of not putting dirt on his name, came up with a word called flurk, which is a flank and a lurk combined.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is really bad, isn't it? We were incredibly sleep deprived, but yeah, back to what was going on in this round. I mean, those are early signs that M80 know what's going on when that T side on Overpass, right? Obviously, Overpass is a little bit of a breath of fresh air when it comes down to the T sides of nowadays' meta, where the game is so fast paced and everything is so dynamical. I guess Overpass is still one of those maps on which you can afford to be a little bit more methodical and a little bit slower on the T side. I mean, at times simply because of how huge the map is, but that previous round, we're quite relaxed, didn't rush it. Gotta make sure the same happens here. They've given away a rifle early on, still should be good enough for the round, unless they all start falling down.
Talk about actually in the post round how I feel about what just happened, but right now, more importantly, it's Lake who sits in the waters below, drowned and out. It's been drained as there's no more of that liquid in beneath him, but still he will stand. Players on either side of his default box. The transition is beautiful, and a third would have been too much to ask for, a third in the round overall. But a 1 versus 2 for Friend, who has an AK-47, but what he doesn't have is any teammates or any armor.
Still a lot of damage. Let's not forget, you're getting all that bonus cash. The more kills you get on the CT side in a round like this one, the more money you're going to be accumulating long term, and they're actually trying to fake him out. Slaxter just rotated in to throw that smoke in towards the dumpster, and now he's going to double back, rejoin with Sin. Is the German duo on the other side. Oh, Cold with a nade in hand. Timing not going his side, and Friend, he's got a real opportunity here. No armor, remember, so he needs that headshot to be instant. 35 seconds on the clock. Slax seems to realize Friend could have already dropped in. Playing the close angle, Shadow gives it away, and Slax is able to beat him to the punch, just barely though. 35 HP to spare.
I thought that every day of the week, Friend had that one with the Shadow being as exposed as it was for all that time. And frankly, a little bit worrying in the beginning of that round how carelessly Swisher had gone up and towards the front side of Connector, dropping that Molotov. They could have very well have been there by that stage, and even then, leaving himself susceptible to something interesting in which, you know, I never was going to believe that there would be a 3-player run through a smoke, but even still, gonna have to take it maybe a little bit slower in that spot once the guns are brought back, and Friend with his sniper rifle supplemented by the rifles, but what they don't have in their wheelhouse is many utility pieces. Retakes, gonna be few and far between. Site executions, gonna be hard to stave off, so Friend, knowing this, plays very aggressively at the front side of A, but doesn't overextend his body to the scope of Slacks.
Yeah, gotta be careful with this one. You're throwing in the mid smoke. Have to be aware of the possibility of people boosting on the other side of it. Or double peeking left and right side, especially when you've got the big green. Overpass, known to be one of the more comfortable AWP maps across many years of Counter-Strike. Especially on the CT side, this is where you usually just give a big green to an AWPer and you just say, hey, you know what, go and have a little bit of fun. There is a lot of avenues. Pretty much everywhere you take that AWP, you can find impact with it. And again, M80 have been quite methodical with the way that they're clearing out the map. You can see how strict they're being. Flashing off angles, making sure you're not overextending, but they are making a little bit of noise in the meantime. So Wildcard should have a rough idea on what's going on.
Yeah, Friend is actually rotating back with peeping on this site, so they've got it well kept. They just got to have their wits about them. Nate pulled nothing. The other side, no double from this time on Lake in the same spray, but even still, the 1 kill and damage will suffice. Swisher in through, making sure that everything is cleaned up from that point forth, and JBA and Stan would be very unwise to give up any more, seeing as they are doubly downed and on the other bomb site. They would have had to make a whole lot of noise, and I don't even see a kit on either of these two guys, so they're just going to be playing to try and siphon a buy, but I don't even foresee that to be a likelihood here, Ted. This is looking very good, given that Wildcard had opted to give themselves a pretty open pathway in towards a fresh start to CT.
There was a little bit of commotion there. I'm not really sure what happened with the side of Wildcard. I feel like they probably weren't on the same page there. You could see one of the rifles was trying to rotate down towards the B-bomb side, and the U2 comes in from the T's and you're going back, and then suddenly it felt like they just wanted to leave long to the third player and double push in towards toilets, and Banana probably expecting the brunt of the attack to come in there. And it's not a bad approach usually, right? You go over there, especially if you feel like there's, let's say, 3 or 4 people coming in from long side.
Just peeping wasn't there yet, and that's the big problem.
Yeah, no one looking. Didn't feel like it felt like they were stuck between having to go for something, which could have worked out, and not having enough time to actually get into doing it on that push.
Yeah.
Unfortunate stuff for Wildcard, and first tactical timeout. Vince will join in the conversation. Obviously, has been, I guess you could say, equally difficult for him to find a way to make this project work in the last couple of weeks. We already spoke about the chaos of Friend and Peeping joining, and then Stan coming in to replace Susp after he decided to take a leave. So Wildcard has been a bit of a, I don't want to say a sinking ship, because I don't want to be that harsh, but it has been a ship that is wobbly. Yeah, a wobbly ship.
It was all one big sting operation to get rid of the Swedes at the end of the day. It's what I'm thinking. Kidding, obviously. Susp and Fuzi are certainly talented players, and I'm glad that they have at least seemingly found some homes. Susp's yet to be revealed, but Dan is right back at the helm of said ship. See if he can course correct. JBA yet to frag, yet to be given very many opportunities, frankly, to even take a duel favorable for him. This time around, he does a gimmick play with Sonic, elevates himself over the windowsill, sees no one, and has to go for something a little bit different. Another elevation. Seems like Bro only looks to get put higher and higher. Drops down ultimately, and all this sound makes him maybe a little bit more precarious as to what's going on top side A.
Like leading the charge. Clear connector right now. M4 needs to be careful. I'm not sure if they spotted actually that this was the rifle. Now they know. Take challenges, and JBA will beat him to the punch. Low HP on JBA. Thing is, there's a lot of people around him, so he could drop that rifle over, and you've got that second one in the hands of Stan. This could still become a pretty dangerous round, all things considered here for M80.
Yeah. I mean, Friend is just wishing he had somebody next to him to go try and take it.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness, Friend. There goes the double. Not quite the triple. Swisher finally getting the response, and Slacks is going to pick one more up on the ope. Swisher and Slacks, though, with 2 versus 4. Steps has been made. Stan giving away the sound cue. This is pure chaos. This is pure carnage in the server right now. It is the low HP M4 of JBA towards the back of truck.
But had something going there, but yes, it's the audio cue that betrays him, and JBA being as low as they was. Another deagle, perhaps, not quite. A dink through the corner of the concrete, but that's concrete, baby. The shot in which Slacks secures the full house between him and Swisher. 5-1. Attention, it screams on the top left of your screen as the thunder begins to rumble. And I guess in Wildcard's sake, playing with Friend against M80, lightning will not strike in the same place twice. It's just a brief pause in breath in this freeze time to where honestly this buy from Wildcard is going to be the last one that gives me any semblance of hope on their defensive. They need this right now.
It's already looking a little bit dire. The previous one was not even a full investment, but it was still a 4v2 that you had going your way. Unable to convert it. Now, trying to go for a bit of a push in towards Monster is going to be the double push, but the nade exposes them and Sin even drops JBA through the smoke. This is already looking like a bit of a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, Peeping, he doesn't have, like, infinite amounts of resources to try and stave off would be a push through at some point. If they want to delay it, HE's through the other end of it won't connect, but who will be the one to do something about this? Friends up in no way, shape, or form in a position to swing in for a favorable duel to him into where Sonic, he's going to hear all this utility raining around him, but he's got two different positions to worry about, frontside Bath as well as long, in which the latter he's dispatched from his responsibilities of his duties now, looking in towards deeper sides of toilets.
You've put him on an island. You're putting so much trust into the hands of Sonic right now. You've rotated everyone else in towards that B-bomb side. It's either he goes huge or you're just calling this one quits. You're going for the save. Sonic has actually opened up a little bit of space between him and the T's. And yeah, now he knows exactly what's going on. Rotation is coming in. Still needs to potentially find one kill. If you give away the bomb side, it's going to be really difficult to get back and play for the retake.
Okay, Peeping has a Molotov. He's waiting to throw it on top of default, I would think. He actually throws it maybe a little prematurely. Stanislaw's gone out. Peeping's going to go on the same pathway, and he'll find nothing more. Just at the same fate as his in-game leader, it's he's going to try and find frags, but in a place to where he's got all these eyes on him. Friend, just hoping that at some point he's going to be able to engage with something that isn't a dire straight. A leg spotted from Swisher, and he had 1 HP. No, excuse me, it's Swisher with 1 HP on the back end's my mistake. And here's Lake. Easy trade. Friend might get his one, but it's a consolation. They've done it again, and they only suffer 1 death. That can't happen. This can't be. The money's not going to be here. They'll have one more shot at 7-1 to try and get a full force through. But here, it's another moment of pistols.
Yeah, I guess the only bonus is the fact that you have been able to accumulate the loss bonus and get a couple kills. Left, right, and center. So you do have the money for the upgraded pistols. You do have the money for a little bit of util, but this is already looking like a good enough T-side when it comes down to Overpass perspective. And as of right now, it doesn't really feel like M80 have a reason to slow it down. A lot of those rounds have been getting more and more comfortable with time. Pistols trying to get aggressive, trying to get up close and personal, but they're just so ready for it. Break the smoke, Sin clears out Friend, and this is already a 5v4 for M80 into the round.
Quiet.
Boost up.
Too quiet, yeah. Eventually the doors will swing for Lake to see if anybody else is there. That boost is nice. Spam through the wall, mitigated by the penetration, but even then, Lake finds his impact onto the last of them. I mean, talk about, I mean, the pun intended in the term wild card. They need somebody to be a little bit of an X factor right now because nobody is doing anything above and beyond. Friend and Peeping are playing fine, right? Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with what they're doing. But if they are going to find some of these rounds, somebody needs to get a little bit ratty. Somebody needs to try and throw themselves into the chaos, into the fire and flames, and then rise above them. Like a phoenix from the ashes. It's Wildcard who needs their hero.
Unfortunately, as of right now, it feels like it's just been the ashes. Not quite a Phoenix Peeping. There goes the opening. Maybe this is what you were after. Hex goes down. First round in a while since we've seen Wildcard get that man advantage at the start. The mid head-to-head between the Opers didn't end up giving us a fight there. Problem is Peeping is low. Good news, M80 don't really have too much real estate gained after losing that first fight, right? It was just an initial peek in towards short and then you fall back. M80 haven't even gotten short control. They don't have any presence in towards connector, so it could be really difficult to actually find a way back into a round like this. Good news is they still have a little bit of time to work with. Bad news, Wildcard more than happy with just playing from the back of the bomb sites with the man advantage.
This is a huge test for M80 right now to see just how they do react for being a man down. Not something they've seen very many a time, as you say. And, oh no, not the same setup. Sonic and Friend are both, again, completely unaware of this long position. They call Peeping, but if he were to have swung out, he would have had the both dead to rights, and he'll still get one of the two of them. Again, the same issues time and time again that almost come back.
It could be. Look at the flashes, look at the Yuto, look at the Chaos, look at the Havoc. Sin, able to find another one. Bomb's gonna go down. Nate not on the right side of the pillar to break the smoke, and Slacks is still taking them down in towards that A bomb side. Friend goes down as well. This is falling apart at the scenes here for the side of Wildcard. It's just that one boost for Peeping and JBA and towards Graffiti that you're hoping to give you something. A leeway back into the round, a little bit of hope. A whisker of it. But with the time running out, with Peeping being low on HP, the lack thereof of a defuse kit, this should be an impossible round to pick up. Peeping gets the first one over, drops Sin, gets another one. There goes the tap of the bomb, but the time is running out. There isn't enough, simply not enough. JBA, even if he gets that kill, it doesn't make a difference. He's going to hold on to the big green, but the one thing that M80 care about right now is picking up the rounds, and that's what they're doing.
In that time, dude, Peeping does exactly what I was requesting, man. He actually does throw himself into these fights a little sooner, and faster rotations, he does save one of the two of his teammates on that topside site, catches himself another frag, but they're already rotating back, and the anchor can't do a damn thing to stop them. It's Stan, swept aside, and you can't obviously expect him to take on an army, but even still, the one would have sufficed. They already brought it down to the clutch moment at the finish line where it was close enough to down to the wire. A kick could have been a difference maker even, but the money just hasn't been there with the rounds subsiding. A loss bonus that will not do them much good if they're going buy to save and to buy and to save. 8 already. This grand final not looking like the competitive one that we were wishing for it to be.
I mean, this is the ultimate test for the side of Wildcard, isn't it? I mean, it's probably the first proper high-level North American team you're playing against in this entire tournament, right? And this is not a hit into towards Energy or lag, but Energy were going through a lot of roster changes themselves, and I guess with Carson and Exotic, it's still a little bit difficult to get an idea on what to expect from those guys. Then 100%. The 2-1 game against lag as well was a really close one. Now you're playing against an M80 side that looks strengthened up after adding Hex. It was like he's opened up even more space for everyone else around him. And with Swisher going 11-5, Lake going 12-5, Slacks being outrageously good with the Ope. This is M80 in full force right now on what could be called their best map already in the pool, regardless of the map being out for just a couple weeks.
Lake has been tested very few a time at frontside Bath. He's usually able to walk up to this point and even beyond before meeting anybody's horns, but they have a setup that's meant to try and deter that, and they've just completely circumnavigated it as of right now. So Lake, once he does walk around this bend, not ready for JBA on a slightly off-angle tucked, Sin with the bomb. He has to be a little bit worried about how far he can go along before Swisher's at his side. And once they do connect, Swisher gets elevated.
Wow.
What a timing for it! I can't believe that works out for him that well. And Peeping has no other way out but long, and Slacks is ready and awaiting him. It's Sonic, the last line, and the only undetected member of Wildcard. And there he'll go, starting it off for a 3 versus 3 with 30 seconds left.
Going for the rotation, though. Hex is already making his way out the B-bomb side. He's actually pushed through the smoke. This is such a ballsy play. Does he hear the stats? He should. That should be a freebie. Hex needs to get that kill, and now he knows there should be another player somewhere around the bomb side. Stan was just running around. Frank goes in. Huge with the first kill, but tag down low on HP. Hex is able to double up and double down.
Gotta get the bomb. 10 seconds. It's there. They can plant it. Don't be too wide out in the open. If it were to be dropped by Sonic, he would have had a hard time getting across. Slacks first.
Drop down.
Will it have been heard? No, it's not. Hex, he doesn't turn. He pulls an aid. And Sonic wastes no time and on no delay will bring them their second round. It's a long time coming, and it takes a lot of different X factors, a lot of different circumstances, but they'll take it nonetheless.
I'm sure Hex didn't hear the drop. There must have been a lot of communication going on because Sonic just jumped out of heaven, right? And the Oper was locked in. He didn't see him, but Hex was probably the one in position to actually communicate the sound cue there. Maybe the Chaos getting the better of them there for M80. Wildcard finally picking up around. It's on the back of Sonic. Friend as well trying his absolute damnness to bide a little bit of time in towards that B-bomb side after getting the first kill. It's chaos galore right now, but Wildcard, I guess this is the point of no return. It doesn't matter how chaotic the rounds are, you just need them, no matter what it costs you.
Yeah. Flash high to give the fight over to Friend, who peeks low, and Lake is ready as ever. Once more, the man in the front of the walk now actually tucks it back, and this may be a little bit of a question mark for Wildcard now. They have 2 players over at B, but again, Stanislaw has been a bit of a liability individually, needing maybe the player to come out through connector as he has. Sonic's on for it. They hear nothing at topside A further beyond that first kill, so it's a pretty easy gamble stack to call, but it's not an easy one to make work.
Oh, they're rotating away. They're actually rotating people in towards the A bomb side. They didn't realize it was going to be B. The bomb side is fully open.
I thought they had the perfect read. I thought that they had it. It seemed to be fine, and they get through short, and they're like, yeah, nobody here, and boost red. What is this with Sin? He was ready for it before it even come through. Pre-aims it, pre-fires his angles, and he knows them well. To be an in-game leader, you got to have the brain to be able to hit shots such as these.
That was really weird. It really was. I guess the main problem there is that you've got no idea if the T's have scaled up after getting the kill onto friend, right? This is the problem with losing your Oper that deep as well into enemy territory, and that's why we said that this smoke in towards teammate is quite tricky if you're an Oper and you're trying to go for a peek, because you go for that peek, they could be boosted, they could swing left side, they could swing right side, and if you don't guess right, if you miss a shot, well, you're just going down to a rifle. Perfect opening coming out of Swisher. And M80 just one step ahead. 9 rounds already secured on that T side. Looking for 10. The 10th round will definitely seal the deal here for that map number 1. Wildcard need this.
Yo, her burning. Friend's got an SMG and there's a smoke on the other side. The line up actually pretty easily for him, and Stan able to send some shots to supplement it as best as he can. Pretty good. 2-man advantage. Try to lose that one. Stan even finding a kill further beyond that. On look back to where Hex at short can do no right. 2 Germans now likely switching to native tongue. Then in slacks for the last of the half. This would certainly be something, and as there's smoke, they have utility to try and either go through or execute late. One of them is going to have to be gun out while that's going on, though, because there's no telling what the wildcard players may do. They're actually getting into that mindset I was speaking of, and it's starting to look pretty decent. But further beyond third round, I mean, going to be a hard crawlback, but even still.
Yeah, impossible for the context of the first half, unfortunately. 3 is the maximum that they can get away with, but as of right now, it kind of feels like they've got it for sure. There should be no way that M80 are given even an opportunity to think about this round, and Peeping with a lovely quick 1-2 will seal the deal. It's third round in the end of the CT side. What would be enough for a comeback in the second half? Quite difficult to say, but at least it's something for Wildcard to be hopeful about.
Peeping definitely giving us the show that we would have wanted from him. Started, I wouldn't even say he started slow. He just kind of needed to realize his difference making as a rotator would have had to have been him actually potentially even fighting further beyond just being a rotator and being an active member of the bomb sites. And that's evident in the A site being taken under search and seizure before he's allowed to get there. The second instance of that happening, he's there just a few seconds earlier. And from that point, he's popping between top and bottom sites like nobody's business. Hits himself a nice little 11-kill mark, and he's not that far behind the top players of the server in Swisher and Lake, despite being 6 rounds a game. Going 2 for 2 on pistol rounds on Overpass, and then not being able to convert the series, let alone a double-digit round. That'll be a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, and I can only wonder how much time they've had with Stanislaw in order to orchestrate a T-side on this map in particular.
Yeah, could be a difficult one. Good thing is, Overpass used to be one of the more comfortable maps of EG and NRG back in the day when Stan was the IGL, so you're hoping that he's got some of the bases covered. Pissed around already, going straight. Lake with a double kill with the Julies, opening up the Condor. Hex joins in with another one. This is already looking like a clean sweep for the CT side. They just keep farming, they keep putting pressure, and Swisher is just tapping away from the back lines, able to get the last one. Hex was actually the one to get the first, and with the pistol round going in favor of M80, so will probably the map in itself.
Everything they could possibly want right now. I made to play the distance game. No bomb plant, man. Stiff-armed from getting that one down. Lake getting the double kill. It felt like, I mean, maybe 3 bullets leaving his chamber to find them. Absolutely wicked stuff from him. You can see that they're boxed into short and try to see if anybody will swing into their account. Not gonna happen. Flash through that smoke, pops wide, to which Hex drops a Molotov or Incendiary more accurately in response. He'll go down for discretion, now leaving them a little bit hard strong in this bomb site to hold on any further beyond. Low HP, but man advantage by 2 and a bomb plant that should be easy as well.
You You want to see them give it a go, especially with the nade from Slacks. If that's able to deny the bomb from going down, unable to get the kill, though. And that should be them calling it off right now. You've got the two M4s. You don't want to risk them. This is your opportunity for the next round. And Slacks is just overstaying his welcome right now. A little bit fortunate that he actually turns around and gets the kill onto Peeping. Doesn't get punished for his audacity to stick around in towards that B bomb side. But this is going to be the alarm. Got to run away. The good thing is, if you're M80 right now, you have a big enough lead. You're not really in a position where you need to be forcing the issue in a retake like this one. And they realize that quite well. You're the favorite. You're holding on to the premium rifles. They've just picked up the round, but with the force up coming in from your side in this next one, you have to hold on to those M4s. You have to make sure you still have a little bit of money, and that's a blinder of a shot from Friend. That's -1 rifle.
I think realizing they're still going to have to go for force maybe here as Hext finds himself nearing the $0 mark. 1S of Slacks could drop over something a little bit higher in firepower, or more responsibly budget for his AWP into the future, so as he doesn't need to rely on anybody else to do it for him. The next round's going to be a save irregardless if they can't win it out. So, some spot sees Peeping, so too sees him, but CT side they have the better information of the two. And yeah, you're right, but I think that they are going to be stalling out for a few seconds longer, knowing that they may be playing up against lesser weapons.
Okay, yeah, this is probably one of the first few times that we've seen some kind of reason coming in from that wildcard lineup. Didn't decide to go through the monster smoke. Hey, you know what? This is not a shot at them. This is improvement.
True.
We're seeing them taking this one seriously. As you said, you know that there's a bit of a lackluster investment on the other side. You also know that they have been able to hold on to one of those rifles. So the last thing that you want to be doing right now is forcing the issue when you don't really need to, when you've got a lot of time left. Want to work with the map a little bit, so to speak. Issue is, your work around it might actually lead you right into the hands of Slacks. Still rocking that double setup with Lake in towards long. Question is, when do they decide to turn around and think about Banana and Toilets being a possibility? Rotation coming in from Sin. We're going to start hearing a little bit of noise in towards A any moment now.
Sin is the only one with the flash, and he already tossed it. It didn't really do much for them. Might have bought him like a second for Lake to get quicker onto the heels, but they're going to be aware of that as a possibility. Peeping, seen, shoulder spotted, but he swings wider to Slacks and dinks him down, eats one in response, but even so, Wildcard should be pretty safe in using the other members with higher fire rates and damage output. Friend already for a first, removing their chances from going in from the spawn. Now they're going to be sitting pretty comfortably in the lower ends of this map. Again, it was going to be another save if they couldn't win out. Slacks will get his AWP in round number 17. So maybe just a couple of pop shots here and there in the following to get a little bit of the confidence flowing. That's all they're really going to be looking for. No reason to panic yet.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to go forward if you're Wildcard as well, right? Just taking one step at a time, round after round. You, I guess, push the economy of the CTs to a really unfortunate extremity where they need to be playing a couple rounds with primarily pistols. And this is a good opportunity. Even if Wildcard don't end up coming back into this one, you still don't want to go into map number 2 potentially with the sour taste of domination in your mouth.
No warm up even.
Yeah, you want to make sure you give them a little bit of a fight in here. Let's not forget, this is not your map pick in the end of the day. We're going to be looking at that Ancient as map number 2. And of course, if needed, you've got a Dust 2 to decide it all. This is far away in the future, though. We're still midway through map 1. I say midway. Technically, could be finished in 3 rounds, but in reality, Wildcard seem like they have something that they want to say about it. I'm already starting to get a little bit nervous about this one, though, Tony. They are walking in towards that A-bomb site. That's exactly where M80 have posted all 5 of their players. A 4-man setup in towards the toilets, Lake jiggling in towards long. This could get quite scrappy.
It could, and having the SMG on to Stanislaw try and make that space first for effective trades would be wise to me, but there goes Swisher caught off guard actually by peeping at frontside toilets. There's more to be discovered. Oh, no. In comes Hex 5-7, and Sonic's got to be a little bit shaky about it now, but the 5-7's the least of his worries when Slacks is putting a bullet between his eyes. Deagle high efficacy, and Stanislaw with that aforementioned SMG could be rascally, can be ratty, but he takes a walk in, a creep out, a crab into Lake. Brings it up. Slacks now already having been made known that Desert Eagle has dipped deeper in towards the A site. 30 seconds left. They have the bomb, and they're going to continue to walk into his den.
Haven't spotted him out. Slacks is repositioned perfectly. When do they make noise, though? When do they make sound? Do they? Stan. Oh, he's made a step. They're not clearing him. They don't realize he's towards the back of the die. Slacks blindsides the first one. Does he realize there's a second on truck? I don't think he does. He's just walking away, though. Friend gonna get spotted out. Needs to get the kill and does so with the AK in hand. They avert crisis in the last possible moment, and Friend is the one to save them. That went too close for comfort.
Friend not playing himself for a fool right there is actually pretty important too, because he could have very well have just gone for the hasty trade. Instead, he sits his butt down right atop the bed of the truck and waits for Slacks to give up his position, because he's the one who's got to run away in order for that bomb plant not to have mattered, but right into the trap, so to speak. Smoke for the Molotov. JBA ascends through. There's one still at short side, but he's going to go through it, disrespecting its damage output. The bullets are where he's got to be more careful, because Slack sends him backing. Swisher's in the water below, but Hex is back out through the barrels and not trying to lock him in to a difficult position. A 3 versus 1 and off, a good weapon for the job, and he looks to flush Sin even further outwardly, but his teammates got his back, and he's got his front eyes locked and loaded as the A1S to take out Friend and bring them 11.
Yeah, you like the audacity from Wildcard. You're trying to go for another explosive play towards the B-bomb side, just switching up the pace completely, right? A couple slower rounds, a couple rounds where you're trying to be a little bit more methodical, knowing there isn't a lot of weaponry on the other side. And the moment that the CTs get the guns out, you're trying to go for the instant switcheroo, running through the flames and towards short. It was such a heroic play. It didn't end up leading to anything, though. Perfect flash coming out of Sin to set them up for the multi-kills. M80 finally get another one on the CT side, and this is 11 on the board now, just 2 away. And Wildcard, even though they've been winning rounds, financially not in the best state ever.
Walking closer and closer to the line. Our Wildcard. Been one. Door's been blown. Believe that Swisher, who holds not for the deep angle, but instead for anybody to walk up in towards closer ends of the site. Lake is given full responsibility of A. He's the one who's going to have to hope to lock it down. He's got nothing else now. That was a defensive smoke to try and play around and catch somebody off guard. We know he's meant for a little bit more of the shooting than anything else, though, don't we?
Didn't see him. Still not getting the information in towards Banana. Somehow he's just jumping around and not spotting anyone. Now the Utah will give it away. Slacks already rotated in. First flick connects, looking for another, looking for more. Slacks has lost a teammate, but he keeps on delivering. Finally shut down, and that's Friend with a double.
Bang on. Trying to go even further beyond that. Friend for his third when given the chance with nobody able to support with the smoke in their face. A second put up right ahead of it, and he, I think, effectively has just granted them their 7th without much of a hitch, as M80 will have to wait for so long to get back into this one to the point where it isn't worth it.
What an effort. Already calling it off. This is going to be 7 on the board for the side of Wildcard, and it has to be said at this point, Friend and Peeping are doing everything in their power to try and keep Wildcard on this map. 16 kills for both of them. JBA, Sonic, and Stan combining for 18. But it's been the new guys on the block. We're not counting Stan as a new guy on this lineup. I don't care that he was away for a month. The new kids on the block are actually carrying the carriage right now. Friend with a big triple on the rifle as well. That was one of the weird ones, I guess. I mean, it does make a lot of sense for North American teams to go over to Europe to try and pick up Opers, but you get Friend out of nowhere. Out of the Polish mixes, you send him right into the Wildcard Academy, and now he's your main Oper. I guess there is something about NA teams liking Polish Opers. After Roland from Poland, now we've got Friend.
Cool with that. Trying their damnedest to find their openings, both teams sustaining a lot of damage. Extend, and oh, what a spray from Swisher on JBA, who has no idea what's coming. AK-47 lays him out, and he never had a chance at life. The 4 versus 4 will continue onwards, and a man equal, though, his friend not letting the coils of his rifles, whether it be fully automatic or sniper, cool down.
That's a bit of a problem,
peeping,
though. It's still, even though you find that kill, just the fact that you see Lake pushing so deep in, that's the reason that friend is just now going back in towards the A-bomb side. You don't really know how many people there's going to be on B right now for M80, right? You shut down Lake, as much as you know, there could be another guy in towards Com, there could be other push players, and there could be a bit of a stack going on in towards the B-bomb side. So as of right now, you probably want friends to at least try and throw some banner into the works in towards A. That's exactly what he's going for. He's just sprinting on banana.
Sin's got a pretty good idea as to what this player is up to now. Boys, it's a fake. It's B. I killed the only guy. Good luck. Have fun. Gets himself an upgrade. Calls his topside A-site player downwards, and now Hex and Swisher need to unite. They need to act as two in unison, try and stave off the plant, or maybe just a couple of kills for the retake to be more easy as both players are low. The Molotov to the pillar, and the pistol's been pulled. Hex can't hit his. Peeping Will opts the best weapon for this job. Off the flick and off the money for the first of them to drop in the pit below. He's got full info on to Sin, but can't get the kill. A necessary one to keep them alive. It felt a bomb plant, sure. Money looking decent, but map point on their pick for M80.
Yeah, there's the in-game leader to step it up. Valiant effort coming out of Peeping. Not his weapon of choice, but made it so close, so realistic towards the end. Definitely there was a possibility for him to pick it up, but M80 has been a team effort all in all. Sin finally stepping up as well, reaching double digits. Everyone else on 15 or 17 kills. And he was the one to make the mid-round move as well. The aggression in towards that upper toilet area, hearing all the commotion. Realizing friend was all alone, just trying to throw in a bit of a cheap fake, and they didn't buy. 12-7. It's been a lackadaisical start to that CT side for M80, but now they've got 5 attempts at closing things out on Overpass. And Thunderpick also securing or supporting their chances to do so. M80 in a much better position, and the Ur setting up for a boost, but there's one going on the other side, and it's a little bit better. JBA already out of the equation.
Peeping simply couldn't react in time afterwards. You saw that there was maybe a split second to where he could have sent a tap, but the head was just out of sight. But they'll send a boost of their own, and they may actually be rewarded for it. On the barrel, Hex will be delivered. Good night. 1 minute. Good time to reset if you are Wildcard, but the utility has all been dropped in the waters below that second ago. A smoke and a flash, that's all they have. Their execution is going to hinge.
As a monster.
On fire player alone. He's going in on his own, a little bit of a recon. He's actually not been seen until he's gotten all the way up through the ramp. He's selling it, or is he going to bring them back if he finds kills? One or the other, but Wildcard need to choose soon.
They've left him on an island though, Peeping. He's just trying to stall. He's just trying to find something all alone, but it's just falling apart around him. Slacks still in towards the toilets with the Opus. Just 2 players to find, and he's already heard a step, but they're pressing the shift button right now. Slacks keeps on moving forward, and now they realize that Slacks shuts down another one. Sonic, a 1 versus 4 needed. To try and play for time, try and store, try and prolong that overpass for a little bit longer, and Sonic has picked up a double kill. Bomb will try and go down. Sin steps made. Should be the easiest kill of his life, and it will be. It's 13 rounds on the board. M80 strike first in the grand final. They get their map pick of Overpass.
Dude, I'm a little bit confused, but maybe Neokai can make me an understander with his analysis following map number 1.
Cheers, guys. I appreciate it. I mean, you have to break it down. I think for me, it all comes down to one word, essentially holistic, right? The approach there coming through from M80, a much better team-wide performance. I mean, Ted was mentioning it towards the end. Bar 1, everybody on kind of 15 to 17 kills across the board, everybody having their moments. We run through these highlights as well. It started off so well. Only 3 rounds found by Wildcard in that first half on the CT side, no less. Just never a position that you kind of want to be in, right? This is a map that prior to its changes and prior to being taken out of the map pool was actually one of the most CT-sided maps we had in the pool, hands down. And the fact that we now see this Wildcard side play so poorly on it, they were set up for failure from the get-go. They couldn't build up the foundations required in that first half to make anything of it. So, you look at this now and the way in which M80 have set themselves up for the series, I think since calling a real masterclass of a game, I think Swisher's looking so confident. And that was a big thing, when Hex was brought in towards his side and we knew there was roster moves going to be made towards M80, Swisher was one of the names that was potentially considered, right? Or at least one of those names that was sort of thrown out there, debated whether it would be him. And I think a lot of it came down to, it felt like Swisher had lost a lot of his individual confidence. Well, he's gained a lot of it back there. His impact share all the way throughout was absolutely fantastic. I thought Lake was, as good as he always is, right? Which is exactly what you want to see. Flip side, as the boys mentioned on the cast, it was basically a two-man show over towards Wildcard. Peeping, Friend, their moments. Credit to Peeping in particular. I do think he really tried to pull them through some tough situations, but ultimately, a bit of a cosmetic comeback is all that we really got out of that. M80 looked so solid all the way throughout. There are a few hiccups here and there, but again, Sin is mid to late rounding is excellent in terms of how he breaks them down. And now it opens up this series in a big way and in a very positive way for M80. They're just one map away now as well from booking their spot in that next stage of, making it through this NA Series 2. And, for them, this is where they want to be. Ancient coming up next as well, picked in by Wildcard. It's a map in which, again, M80 are more than happy to play. It's a map in which has been a strong part of their map pool. So you look at this Veto as a whole, so favorable. The chances of this now going towards Dust 2 feel very, very slim, but it continues this 100% win rate over towards Overpass. That's how 7 maps in a row won by M80 on Overpass, all of which, as Ted brought up, just as we got into towards map number 1, all of which without any team getting towards double digits. That in itself, unbelievably impressive. So there's a lot to like here. I think for Wildcard, unfortunately, you can just see we're not getting the individual step up enough, right? Sure, Peeping's have his moment, and Friend did as well, but we need JBA online. We need Sonic a little bit more from him. Stan, we can give him maybe the benefit of the doubt being the IGL, but when you're seeing on the flip side that Sin's having a lot of impact himself, it's tough to make those arguments. Sin is that proof in the pudding that a fragging IGL can still be at that really, really solid level and still put up a lot. And he was very good anchoring on that CT side as well. So it's a tough predicament that Wildcard now find themselves in. They've got this sort of 10 to 15 minute break in between maps before heading in towards Ancient, and they wouldn't have picked in towards this map without an idea of what they're going to bring to the table. But you have to imagine this being really difficult now, right? It's a map in which, again, on paper, M80 have been very, very strong. It's a map in which they've been very confident picking into. When you look at the runner form, Tony brought up a little bit in the pre-show, but generally speaking, bar a few hiccups here and there, a lot of maps look quite favorable towards M80. You look towards H as a whole. The last time it was played, granted, a hell of a long time ago, back at Challenger Atlanta, tail end of the year, that was won out by M80. And this is a map in which they've just continued to find success on all the way throughout 2025. So for me, I feel like this is the side that are destined to take this series, and 2-0, as we were talking about on the desk as well, when all of us were here. I can't see a world now in which we get towards 3. I just haven't seen enough from Train that makes me give the idea of how we break this down. For me, if we're getting towards Train, we need to see JBA come online tenfold, if we're being completely frank. I mean, he finished that map, just checking out, it was single-digit numbers for him, and yeah, 6 and 13, 34 ADR. It's not enough for a guy who's actually meant to take a lot of control in this wildcard side. He's given a lot of decent positions as well, and unfortunately, just couldn't get going. So, tough predicament for him. Sonic, he's called upon a lot in the clutch, but I just think, unfortunately, we can't have that be the only thing he's found for here. So, it's a difficult predicament. I don't think Friend's winning out in the head-to-head against Slacks either. As much as Friend was still doing decent, a lot of his good work was also on the rifle. So, tough predicament. Heading towards Ancient, another map which is very, very favorable towards the orbs. So, if Peeping can keep up his numbers, if Friend can step up a little bit more with the big green and start to really put consistency on that orb as well, and then we get just one more out of Sonic or JBA, that's when we can start fathoming things. But the issue is that we need a lot of things to go right for the idea of them just even be able to compete with M80. That's how good things are looking right now. Like we said, bit of a cosmetic comeback towards the end, but that's ultimately all it was. So for now, we're going to throw this one to a little bit of a break. When we are back, it is our second map up on the docket, potentially even the last map of this final as well. It's Ancient up next. It's the pick of Wildcard. We'll see if they can stay alive in this series. For now, though, a break.
going to force the kill in the last second. Right to the smoke. Look at him go.
Welcome back. Well, we're heading in towards map number 2. And fellas, there's a real feeling in the air now that this could be the second and final map as well. Ted, I just haven't seen enough so far from Wildcard that convinced me that they can take it towards that third of Dust 2, despite this being their map pick.
Yeah, I feel like obviously you're expecting a little bit more. It was a good little awakening towards the end there from Friend and Peeping. Obviously they were putting in a lot of effort to try and prolong their stay on Overpass, but as you pointed out, it wasn't really set in stone, and we were having a bit of a chit chat about it right before we went back to camps right now. M80 are the team that looks a little bit more logical. It feels like they really are trying to play proper Counter-Strike right now, and regardless of losing a couple rounds towards the start of the second half, I feel like they've got this under control. And with that being said, they do get to play one of their best maps as map number 2. Enshin is a map that M80 are notoriously quite good on, and the only 2 teams that have been able to take them down on it in the last couple of months have been Kaleshi, and then before that Nemiga, and they've been able to take down some European opposition on this map as well, especially during the major and PGL Astana. So I am kind of holding that Enshin of M80 to a pretty high regard. So yeah, a 2-0 definitely a possibility, especially with a CT side start.
Yeah, Tony, as well. You know, you look at this Veto as a whole. I mean, you know, we were maybe a little shocked when we saw it going to get picked in a way. What's the feelings you think for Wildcard for going for this pick? Do you think it's, you know, them trying to take a bit of a gamble? Because, I mean, I remember watching Fisher Playground against Gamer Legion, and it was pretty brutal, right? There was not really a lot to like.
Yeah, I mean, for one, the thing that I had a kind of as a win condition that you asked about was Peeping's individualism on this map, and I saw it in the last, and I think that that's a really good sign going forwards for him. And to our friend who kind of slowly started to roll into the game, I'd say probably about negligible. If I were to say him or Slacks were like dominating on the AWP, I'd say Slacks with the weapon specifically looked better than Friend did, but impact from Friend came in other ways. So, you know, coming into an Ancient pick now where Slacks gets that CT side start, he might have a chance to shut Friend out before he gets the chance.
Well, fellas, it looks like this game is about to get underway in a second. And I think the feelings now in the camp over here is that this one is all written off into. There's something quite special has got to happen to Wildcard. This 10 to 15 minute break, we've got to find a second wind. But I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. Ted, do you have a feeling that Wildcard have any life left in them?
Well, definitely there's a little bit of life left, and I think we're ready to jump right into the map, so we're going to find out quite soon. Map number 2 ready to start off any moment now. Neo, thank you very much. We're going to see you in just a little bit. Question is Neo going to be breaking down this map, or are we going to be closing out the event next time we see him? We have to wait and see. Have to wait and find out. Pistol rounds already going. And to answer your question, definitely given a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to Wildcard, they need to start it off with a nice little pistol when JBA has already opened things up.
Yeah, JBA not having the greatest of times on that last map, but he's already accumulated almost as many kills as he did on Overpass in the first round of this one. So if there is anything to look forward to, it's that. 1/3 of those having been now. And nice tap from Slacks as all of them walk into his crosshair. What has happened? How has this collapsed?
There's no way. Not like this. Not a 5 versus 2 pistol round to throw away from the get-go. And Swisher's found another one. This one is falling apart. Do they clear out Sonic? That's the question here. No kid in the equation. Tap on the bomb. They're going to try and stick it. Not looking the right way, though. Sonic counting out. Goes for the peak. Can't connect on the shot. Still able to get the first one. Time is running out. Slice gets the kill. It's a one-tap. It's going to be damn close. Does he have enough time? I think he's got it. The 4-piece coming out of Slacks, and he's just gonna barely get that defuse in. M80 with a legal steal of a pistol round courtesy of Slacks.
That can't happen. It simply isn't allowed. Slacks. Every player that tries to walk it out too long, the obelisk of coverage for Slacks to use. Good God, and Swisher's patience onto the tap and not any hesitation for these headshots. They look so calm. Given that they're a map up, that's gonna be a great feeling. And Slacks gets an op round too. We've been seeing more and more of this in modern day Counter-Strike given the economic update, and it's a little bit of a questionable decision sometimes, I will say. There's certainly room for that to go haywire, especially now given that there's a buy up in hands with Galools and Tech-9s that may be able to deal him a dirty hand. An 8 and a 3 on the first flop of the river.
That's definitely not the type of start that you were after if you're Wildcard. Definitely doesn't do a whole lot for your team morale, does it? You get a 5 versus 2 on the pistol round and you just let it slip like this. Slacks with a big one. And as you said, the big green already out in the server. Yet to be spotted out, yet to be communicated from Wildcard. But judging by the purchase, a B play looking highly likely. Actually, on a little bit over 60 seconds, they will try and go for the red walk here. Hex, gotta be careful about it. They should know this is a possibility.
Possibilities are endless at a 50-second mark with the CTs not having full knowledge of what's going on these extremities. Important to them. Hex needing to deepen himself in towards A on a read, but it's the split through house that could very well head towards speed. Splinter, Swisher, and Sin. Good from only the first in Lake. He's got it back up against the A site wall, but he's got to be able to get a kill and get out. I mean, more importantly, holding on to what would be the reroute.
Knife
Bomb
out.
left in the open, and Friend exactly. Oh my lord, falling asleep at the wheel is Stan. What is this? I mean, it definitely had legs. There was certainly something to walk on if you were Wildcard, but obliteration by the end of it.
Yeah, they just get obliterated, and they didn't even spot the AWP, by the way. That was the one weapon that we were kind of circulating around with the entire conversation. Didn't even need it. A big triple kill coming out of the in-game leader of Cinder and Hex. The really important first kill as well. Lake able to get his and get out of dodge, avoiding the refrag possibility. And this is already looking like a tough one, as we pointed out. Enshin has been looking like a really kind map for the side of M80 lately. A 13-3 win over Supernova Comets when they played in the Ace NA Masters 2025. A 13-5 win over Getting Info here in the Thunderpick World Championship. A 13-3 win over Regain in the Prize Picks NA Revival Series that they ended up winning as well. Oh, all right. Oper was alone. That's a big green that could get recovered by Friend.
Sin's gonna swing wide. There is no smoke for spawn. They would have to
God.
get the shots to play coverage, and Sonics does. The smoke is eventually thrown, actually recovered off the body into Donut. Both of them trying to deny it even further beyond that, and they will do so successfully. Sonics got a new lease on space, though. CT's looking pretty good. Swisher, he's gonna be late onto this stab into the side, but Stanislaw ready for it for only how long of a time, though? They're so patiently awaiting him. I think
don't like this. It should be, and France picked up another one. What is going on? Welcome to North American Counter-Strike, folks. That's how we roll. That's how Wildcard roll. From one 1D to another, to a third, to a fourth kill, and to Lake trying to hold on to that rifle. They win the pistol, they win the anti-force, and the anti-eco is the one you lose. And there is a good old saying when it comes down to Counter-Strike. You know, the only thing that is worse than losing the pistol round is winning the pistol and losing the force. By well, the only thing that's worse than winning the pistol and losing the force is winning the pistol, winning the anti-force, and then dropping the ball against the eco. That is the most painful of the lot. Because you know you should have had a 3-0 start. You know you should have had a lot more money to work with now, and instead, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. At least not looking too bad here for the CT side. 2 M4s, a FAMAS, a couple MP9s, a little bit of util, but this is Wildcard with an early entry onto the T side.
MP9s for Hext and Sin. 1 to each bomb site. Sure, also on lesser weaponry of the FAMAS, but leaving it all on Lake with the UNS on a flank down into the bottom ends of mid. What an exposition for him. And now they can afford to pull off. Now they can afford to play boosted up, or Fisher unafforded any more leeway, pull into peeping, and that's 3 versus 3 right back. A little bit of a misstep.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough one. First, no one's looking for that flanking towards A from the side of Wildcard, and Swisher just going for the reload, not realizing that a player walking through the smoke was a possibility. Peeping with a double kill already in the round, and this is a 3v3, but Wildcard still forced to go for the B play. Going back A at this point, with the lack of information, the lack of presence feels like too big of a risk, meaning you're going to be forced to actually walk right into the den of Sin and Slacks. Surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to come down to how hardy the clears are of the T side. There's no flashes that are able to be hit as blinders. The mollies can maybe burn out Sin. From Singular. Sin walks down to the ramp, actually. I didn't see that he had gotten his back up off that wall, and yeah, Hex is going to be a complete unknown entity for JBA, who pulls a nade to try and isolate them. Not to be the case. Great initiative from Sin, realizing they're kind of boxed. If he just sits himself down there for all too long, I don't really think they win that.
I mean, all in all, it's good initiative from M80 in the round in general, right? First late going for that push in towards A main, as we pointed out, you had just the 2 premium rifles, the 2 Emperor, so one of them gets a little bit more proactive, gets a double kill out of it, and then the moment that you make the stack, which is an educated guess, Sin on around the 15-20 second mark decides to push away. You wanted to make sure that you'd have a little bit of time to rotate back on if it was indeed an A play. And it's back to square one now for Wildcard. A little bit of residual cash left, so you're going to be able to put Friend on that big green. You've got an AK in the hands of Stan, a couple of Galils, and a Deagle for JBA. Supposedly, potentially, an A play coming up. They've decided to actually pull the plug on this. Not going all in. Slowing things down a little bit further. 75 seconds on the clock. They do have a little bit of util to work with. Red smoke in play, and that was the last smoke in the equation for the T side, so gotta make that utility count.
I think somebody on the side of Wildcard had commented that they felt a little uncomfortable with the lack of mid presence before going into the A site, and that's probably a wise call given that they had so much time left and utility that would actually allow them in order to scale up through donut side, a late lurk from stand through main. That's honestly going to maybe be the entry player at this point.
That's a bit of an issue. Smoking towards donut is great out of Hex, and he's heard a commotion. He spotted the Oper, so you know they were trying to poke and prod in towards that donut position. Lake, responsible for cutting off a potential flank here, but he's going to be the one that will need to rotate, especially if Slacks and Hex go down. Stan, good for one. Now, with the Oper being posted in towards red, that means that Hex is on an island, and he's just going to get mollied out, isolated. Bomb will go down here.
Yeah, a little bit of a free one. Really interesting that Friend's gotten into this space. Of all of them, he can play for the rotation. Cut off, flicks off the mark. Now he's left low. He has to get out of that picture and start to maybe rely on the rest of the crew as Sonic's position surely goes undetected. They can't afford to go in through mid. There's too many unknowns, Ted. Hex, he's calling that the site's looking clear, and that's going to be the biggest piece that they've got going for them. It's the left and right sides of the donut that are going to be the biggest kryptonite now, though. Here comes a flash that blinds Sin on a preemptive swing, and I think they've just got to concede this one. They can't go in any further beyond this. Sin realizes this, and Swisher feeling the energy from his captain from behind. They've been locked in. There's no way out. Sonic, final boss. He will be beaten, but the round's still won by Wildcard.
Yeah, it felt like they should have been aware of what was going on, right? But it's just the presence of Friend in towards red that just throws a massive spanner into the works here for the CT side. You couldn't rotate back in. Friend is able to get one kill and regardless of the missed shots, stay alive and just keep on being a nuisance. And they just had no utility left there for the retake. The flashes were a little bit all over the place. Blinding teammates, not having a smoke for donut, not having even a molly, an incendiary, anything other than the flashes that weren't as functional. And a Wildcard, at least keeping it really competitive at the start here. And now you're looking at the money of M80. This purchase is far from ideal.
On the side again by Lake.
All right.
He's just constantly getting into this before the mid-round can even initiate. Stanislaw, though, back for his, removing the in-game leader of the other side to call from the grave. And that is an insanely fast shot from Lake.
Gotta be careful, Friend. You don't want to go for that swing. You've got the bomb on your back and your teammate is so low on HP. JBA, open hand, that's the bomb dropped.
HE for Swisher.
Probably don't want to put an 8 out right now. 5-7, going for a bit of a move, and Sonic will punish Hex elsewhere. Issue is, Swisher's got the util and a rifle to pick up. And he's got another smoke off of the ground as well. He's got eyes on the bomb right now. It's all about how Sonic wants to approach this one. He's going around the world right now, going in from CT spawn. He's going to have enough time for that maneuver. Question is, do M80 read into it? Do they start thinking about the possibility?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. The internal clock's going to start ticking like right about now from Swisher. I think he'll turn about face and clear the ramp as the bomb will be covered by the smoke for only a time. Instead, actually grouping back up with Slacks and making himself less of a target for if there were to be anybody to come down through the ramp. That's pretty good. Nice molly into bucket. Nobody's home. Another one set right back. Back 16, but coverage enough to where Sonic would have to be laser focused, and accuracy that simply doesn't exist. 18 seconds, one recovered, smoke to the site, JB out and off, and he's gonna be the one to go first. I don't think that's a wise decision, and Slacks, he'll capitalize off that fact as well as recover the weapon, and what he very well wanted to use in that last round, but Friend got instead.
Yeah, it's a really mature decision there from the side of M80, right? You just leave the bomb, you had the Uto, you just forfeited, and it's a little bit fortunate that obviously the rifle that's going around the world and vice versa, unfortunate for Sonic there that he doesn't get a kill and just gives away his position, doesn't change too much, but with the time running out, with the molly right on top of the bomb, M80 didn't really need to stick around. Could reposition in towards the bomb side, made themselves really difficult to find and take down, so the financial wars keep on going. And that's so much utility damage onto Stan. He started this round on 43 HP and might even get further tagged by the molly. Swisher not really giving any map control away for free, but eyes on A.
Shots even still on the Galil are going to be doing sufficient work. I mean, softened. But on the T side, the beauty of being the offensive is that you can regroup. You can pull yourselves together and try to overwhelm in sheer numbers. Better weapons later on, but Peeping's AK-47 for the time is going to have to be their godsend, actually leading them forward in throughout mid. And Swisher's going to try and get away. If they had run him down, there may have been a world he'd gone to an early grave. Now he just got spot of at least one, the tip of a head. Peeping and Swisher exchanging eye contact for a split second to tick, if you will.
I think he spotted Stan as well. That was a good jump spot out of Swisher. Realized he doesn't want to give them 1v1s right now. You want to play the man advantage situations, if possible, on the bomb sites. He's saying so. Sin is alone in towards the cave, and he's going to go 1-for-1. This is not too bad for the side of Wildcard. A good refrag coming out of Peeping. Low HP still on him and Stan. And with the Ope of Slacks not missing a beat right now, this is becoming a lot more of a difficult round. Bomb dropped. 20 seconds on the clock. They still need to go B. M80 are staying on A. They need to rotate someone in.
Maybe. I think delay from Slacks will be just long enough. Even if Blake doesn't get his kill, it's just going to be ring around the rosy, and he actually doesn't opt to play for a hiding game. Very much so ready to take on any challenger from Wildcard. Stands his AWP at a tip and 5-2. This is where the few rounds that Wildcard have gotten in this half thus far, I mean, looking back on them, were not flukes, but not really recreatable, Ted. There aren't rounds that we can look back on in citation that they could do more than one at a time and claim they can bring this one back any further beyond without a breakout rifle round.
Yeah, it's not shocking to see the Thunderpick odds going in favor of M80 right now. That was the big shout out to Thunderpick, and you can go and check out those odds when you click the banner below. But yeah, as you pointed out of the 2 rounds you've won, one of them was an eco, and
they're trying to do something
other than
similar.
that, yeah, other than that, you're down quite bad, and unfortunately you're not surprising Lake with a play like this one. A nice little triple coming out of him. Hex there to support it with one as well, so it's one of the cleanest rounds so far of map number 2. M80 opening up a bit of a distance right now. Slacks has had a phenomenal start, and that definitely boosts up the confidence when you're an opener and you start off the pistol with a 4-piece like he did. Then you get that big round that he had in the previous as well on the buy round. 11-3, 4 and 9 kills for Lake as well. The CT side starting to get some momentum, and Wildcard with the guns right back up, but it's not the perfect investment. Stan taking a bit of a hit, going for the Galil. Same for Peeping. Utility's not in full, and you don't really have the big green in play either.
A lack of round count really makes them have to commit to some awkward decisions. This round just being one of very few of them. Peeping blinded Swisher, not late this time for an aggressive play around Shelf. Very well done, and he gets out of there despite being on 11-8 speed. He knows that somebody's near enough by, and don't lose your head right now, Lake. I know you want to be the guy in the beginning to really bring things in your favor, but don't exchange hands with that into Wildcard this time. They don't have any utility left. They have nothing.
Yep. But it's not fantastic, is it? 65 seconds on the clock, and you don't have a single piece of util left.
Contact
not a flash,
it is.
not a measly decoy. You've got nothing. Nada. So as of right now, all your hopes are falling down into the hands of the rifles, and Lake has gone for another re-aggression. It's lovely out of M80, re-clear middle, get that kill, Sonic all alone, and now everything is screaming a B play.
Yeah, I mean, the CTs, they're going to have to get here a little bit sooner next time, perhaps, given all the room they had to work in mid. I'm a little bit shocked they had nobody deeper entrenched, so now they can afford to take a 1v1 maybe. Again, JBA needing to go dry. Almost gets the drop onto Sin. He's got a teammate on the backside box at endgame that may be able to kill him for him. The flash is there. JBA's AK-47 that little bit better.
It looks a little bit frisky, doesn't it? And Friend finds another one. There goes JBA. Low HP on Hexton. He's nailed the headshot. It's a 1v1 stand on the other side, and they're both low on HP. It's just going to be who's going to be a little bit quicker, and it's Hex to beat him to the trigger. Perfect stuff coming out of Hex. The 7 rounds on the board. They clutch it up and get so damn close. It's so damn nasty as well. So chaotic on the B bomb side, but Hex comes in clutch.
And it's just honestly one of those things that a lot of people aren't big fans of in CS2 is the lighting. The ability for Hex to have so much time to react to Stanislaus' position, given the shadow exposed that Stan has no idea, obviously. That stinks. Former in-game leader from the Evil Genius days, now having parted ways and met once again ahead in the finals here at Thunderpick. It's been a long road, but one in which Hex seems to come out a little bit better for it, seeing as he was perhaps benched from his last team, transferred to this one, but Stanislaus brought back by necessity. And speaking of necessities, it's he, as well as JBA from that last game, who weren't really putting on that great of a show that need to resurge. And JBA giving us a glimpse in the pistol round, a glimpse in the last round of the 9th. But that's not going to be enough. I need to see the full picture.
As of right now, the full picture has been a 2-0 for M80. That's what it feels like. That's what it's looking like. With every single other round that they keep on winning. And this is going to be a bit of a fake in towards the A-bomb side. Yuto comes in Sonic, the one man that's going to throw himself out there. And unless he's able to find anything, and he's not even going to commit to the fight, the fake shouldn't really work out. The bomb might get dropped any moment now. Swisher could cut that off. Actually, he's lost the fight, friend, but Sin and Slacks have found a double in the meantime. And there goes Lake. Bomb drop. JBA. Ooh, a little bit of a frisky one, a little bit of a messy one coming out of Lake. Thankfully, Sin was there to back him up and Hexed with another one. So you're getting those 8 rounds on the CT side. This is the bare minimum as of right now for the side of M8. You're looking at 8 or potentially, well, 9, sorry, or potentially even double digits here. That would definitely put them on the right track for the win.
It's always annoying when your spray is really good, but they're just not peeking into it the way that you want to. Like,
does that really mean that your spray is good?
Yeah, why not?
A good spray is the spray that gets the kill.
What? So you say if you hit 30 bullets out of 30 in the center of a hole, but there's no player on the other side, it's a bad spray?
I mean, it's a good spray in not the perfect circumstances. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, here's one more chance for him to get that spray, and once again gets the burst looking pretty nice, but they're just stuck against the wall. They're not going to give him enough skin. Try and clap down. Keeping. First time in a long time, I think we've seen him as one of the first to kill. Yeah, or yesterday or the day before against NRG, he was actually one of the biggest proponents of finding their openers on this map in particular, as mentioned.
Oh.
And make note of the fact they almost body block one another inside of Temple, or Lord, inside of A main with the Molly to Temple.
Slacks will eventually go down there. Down with the drop is a 5v3, but the CTs are quite close, and there's a lot of low HP players on that T side. This could still get a little bit interesting. Sin and Lake pick up a quick double. They're going to give this one a go. Bomb yet to actually go down, and there goes Hex. He's coming in from the back lines. Lineup is his. And it's 2 more kills to the good. Brent, at least he's got the bomb on his back, but with 45 seconds on the clock, he's got the information as well, and an opportunity. Still a 1 versus 2, and that was a 5v3 for the side of Wildcard. Friend needs to be the hero once again. Is he going back, eh?
I think he is. Wrapped around now. He's got room to plan.
Oh my goodness.
The clears are what he's going to have to be the most worried of.
No.
They're going to give him all the time to do it, or he'll outplay himself. I'm not sure. He's got so many ideas in his head, but he's got not a lot of time to commit to all of them. He's going to have to make sound at some point, and he's running it back to B. They're already on the site. They're ready for his arrival. As soon as he crosses the threshold of short, he's a dead man walking.
That must have been one of the most weird things that Friend has ever experienced as a Counter-Strike player, by the way. You've got the information. One is A main, the other guy is Tempo. I haven't seen anyone middle. I haven't seen anyone CT Tempo anywhere around red. I hightail it being they're both there.
Yeah, I mean...
that is insane.
And the A side is just such a cruel mistress as a T side, right? I mean, it's so nice to play a post plant from there once you've gotten that bomb down, right? But the problem is that they're burning cigarettes on your forehead while you're trying to get it done. There's no world in which you're getting it so comfortably, so easily without a little bit of a spam here, a little bit of a molly there. There's just so many avenues for a team as experienced as M80 will be on this to stop you in your tracks and stomping out the walk-up. The main once again, goodbye, friend.
That's what we've been saying. Friend goes down, peeping with a nice refrag onto Swisher, blindsided. Not really receiving a lot of support because of the Uto. Spam going either way, and Peeping is going to try and find a little bit more. Slacks goes huge with the open. Another pickup. There goes Peeping as well, trying to keep them in this one. A 1v1 against Sid. It's a scrappy one. Both of them tapping away. There goes the support of JBA though, and this might finally be the third round on the board, but Hex and Lake still in this.
The re-smoke to short, a flash over to long. JBA already having been softened would be an easy target, but maybe not so much. He's dainty stuck. You're right, the kid is there, and the shot to the wall. It's the up from Peeping picked up, but it's damage not enough. A 1v2 clutch without any kills needing to be transpired. It's Hex to bring them 10.
And you know he's going to be loud and proud after this one. We don't have the cams. We don't really know what's going on, but Hex is definitely enjoying himself right now. They just didn't plant the bomb for that. The double push into her as long is not a bad call, but Hex just sticks it. 12-6 for Hex. 10 kills for Sid, 13 for Slacks, 12 for Lake as well. Swisher is the only one lacking behind, but doesn't really matter too much when you're winning 10-2. I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't. Giving you the answer right here, right now. M80 are just 3 rounds away from winning this entire event. Just 3 rounds away from winning it all without even dropping a map of play. And that's what you're expecting. You've got such high caliber teams waiting in the Thunderpick World Championship 2025 close qualifier. Teams like Na'Vi, teams like the Falcons, FaZe, Astralis, Aurora, G2, NIP, Heroic, Gamer Legion, 3D Max, VP, the list goes on and on and on. And as of right now, it feels like M80 will join all of them. Hex, what a move that is. You get removed from NRG, you come into M80, and right now you're just styling on the whole of North America. Domination at its finest. 15 wins out of 17 series, and this might as well be 16 out of 18 after this one.
All in through red. Taking a little bit of a pause in the beginning of that round, but ooh, nice tap out from Friend onto an elevated Sin. The rest of them trying to avenge. They're going to run him down at the boxes. None of them successful in refrag just yet. It's Lake and Slacks, shoulder to shoulder. JVA much deeper beyond, and we've seen Slacks pull back pistol rounds before, Ted. Surely not again. Already 2.
Oh my god, not a 2v5. Stanislaw gets the kill on Swisher. Slacks, a 1 versus 3 now. Tapping away the first one. Stan is low on HP. Slacks, this is doable. He can do it again. Has to be the ace. There goes the HEP comes in, able to get another one, and Slacks gives it such a good go once again. It's back-to-back 4Ps for him on the pistols. This time around, though, 4 was not enough to get the round over the board. Wildcard get this one, and they barely stay alive.
Ooh. Yeah, you always have a little bit of belief in the back of your mind. Or at least I do. When those kinds of things repeat, that's the real sign of a game done. But thankfully for them, they can at least shut down Slacks on the second go-around. Boosted. Not going to see Sonic because he's close enough to the smoke. Not going to escalate any further beyond a shelf. So saves his own life and doesn't even know it. And that's just going to be them sitting behind whatever smokes there are on either the bottom sides of mid or at B main. Trying to see if anybody's going to do something haphazardly, but it's all according to plan right now from Wildcard playing these distances as they do.
Ooh.
Oh, that does not in the blueprint.
Nope, that hurts. Friend is still there as well, and he's gone down to, oh no.
Good lord.
Hold my hand. It's the force by to actually take them down, isn't it? Like he's already taken so much space. Look at that. Peeping is on an island, and he's got nothing but an SMG and a bullet to the back of the skull. Oh, that's painful. And you need to call this one off. You've got nothing more left. Nothing else than those 2 SMGs. And you need to hold on to them for dear life. This is going to be 11 for the side of M80. That is a really painful one.
I gotta start shutting my mouth. Caster's Curse. That's going in the caster reel. Swisher finishing the last of them, leaving no scraps on the table, finishing his meal and asking for more. Time. Kick things into high gear if you're M80 to finish this one off, and letting Wildcard out with a whimper. Pistols, they're looking to force here. You'd think it was a save based on what they're pushing forward into the 15th. I mean, so
you don't
rough.
really have choice, do you?
No, I know. I understand.
Yeah.
But you'd think it was a save in terms of looking at what they actually have.
Yeah. Sadly, it's everything in the bank accounts right now, and Lake is already chopped off the head of Peeping. That's in towards middle, low HP on Lake, but it doesn't really matter. You still have the 5v4, and with the rifles surrounded, that was the only SMG in the mix. M80 have put themselves in a great situation. Group up. Play this one together. Just be careful about it. Don't give them too many individual opportunities. You've got the U2 for the B execution as well. Regardless of the stack being in there, as long as M80 play this one correctly, there shouldn't be too many opportunities for Wildcard to steal away around like this. That would have been one of them. Friend, on one dig that does not connect, but they're still forced to go for that B play most likely. Thinking about it.
Yeah, low HP on Lake from earlier on with this MAC-10, usually good for his one. He'll find it, and then everything kind of stagnates from then onwards. But the A site's looking so free, man.
Now they spawned him out, and Lake has not really seen anything in towards the A-bomb side, but they're buying it. They're all rotating back in. 30 seconds. Both teams are rotating back in towards the A-bomb side. This is going to go down to the wire. Lake is already here, though. Low HP. Does he get a kill out of this? Does he realize they're so close? They're so damn close. There goes the first one. Lake with another. JBA with the refrac. 80 seconds on the clock. They know exactly where he's coming from, though. Digo goes for the swing. Hex is posted on the angle, and it's 12 for M80. 1 round away.
All right. This is it. The moment that M80 have been waiting for, and the one that Wildcard have been dreading. The grand finals of Thunderpick seeming to be swept from under the rug pretty quickly, and they want that cash. They want the money. $20,000, I believe, goes to M80 following this. $5,000 for Wildcard, so it's a stark difference in the payout. Certainly making it worth the while is that aforementioned closed qualifier you speak of. And they take down a pair per team. The nade off the floor, maybe a miss on the mark for Sin, but it won't really matter. It's the shots that are all the more important for them to kill out all remaining members and friend a Deagle, a measly pistol to try and pull anything back. The only saving grace is that Sin and Slacks are low.
They don't really know where friend is either. Is the Oper is the guy that's floating around, and he's heard the steps. He's heard one of those players going towards the ramp. He's looking in towards middle, though. Does he clear out? Does he clear out Tetris? He's overlooking them. He's not looking. They're not looking either. What is going on? Finally, they turn around, and Hex is the one to put the final nail in the coffin. 17 kills for him, 13-3. And M80 are your Thunderpick World Championship North America Series 2 champions.
Take a look at that. The boys with the virtual confetti surrounding them, as I'm sure they themselves are pretty happy with the result through here tonight. Not only a win, but one where they have their thumbs placed comfortably over the top of Wildcard. It was a great showing here on Ancient, a more than good to mainly great effort on Overpass that had its moments towards the end, but never really enough to bring us into doubt. Neokai, get yourself in here and tell us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, fellas, what a game, right? And again, I think just coming back to what we're talking about, dominance being shown by this M80 side, and there wasn't even that narrative of the cosmetic comeback by any means in this one. This is where M80 do a lot of their best work, right? This is a side who are able to really dictate the pace, the tempo, start to put a lot of pressure on. And you got to again look towards Wildcard. And sure, you know, we called upon JBA and he did step up a little bit more than in towards map number 1, but nobody really steps up, unfortunately, over towards Wildcard. Slacksnily pulling off an incredible ace as well. That nade finding one towards Stan. I thought I had a bit of belief in my eyes that they could have pulled that one off. But as you run through these highlights, you can really see just how well Wildcard were able to control the pace of this game, take advantages and capitalize upon them as well. Opening kills were quite consistently going their way, and they were using them as catalysts to wins. There was so much that went right, and unfortunately for Wildcard, I think this is still a side who teething issues are definitely plaguing them at the moment. They need to go back to the drawing board. Second place in a qualifier like this is great, but unfortunately, there's no prizes for second place. I mean, Tony kind of touched on it a little bit. There's a vast difference in prize pool. There's only one spot available here for the North America Series too, so credit to M80. Fully deserved of it. Of course, they were the favorites coming in towards this qualifier, and they walk away as the champions and comfortably, Tony put it right, spot on, right? There was never really a point where they felt massively that uncomfortable. You look through the rest of their run to where they got here, didn't drop a map, were comfortable all the way throughout. No one really put that much pressure on them. 2-0s all the way through, and a fantastic show. And so I'll bring the fellas back on with me, guys. An incredible run from M80, right? And I think, unfortunately, the issue for everyone else is that nobody else really made M80 feel uncomfortable at all throughout this qualifier. They made life look a little too easy, and I think that's probably just quite indicative of just actually how dominant M80 are. If we're talking about the kind of the tier 2 to tier 1.5 of the North American scene, there's no other team that can compete right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've built something like this for that to be the case, and I guess seeing the fruits of their labor in recent history as well. I mean, thinking back as far as to when they had lost Malbs, things were looking a little bit maybe shaky from people who weren't aware of the presence that Lake had in the scene and, you know, the fit that he was going to be. But I think ever since then, it's been proven time and time again, even before with Malbs, that this team is something to look forward to, whether it be towards players into the future of North American or international Counter-Strike, over an overarching thought, or just this team in general and what they're able to do. And I think that they've only just started to show us recently what that really is.
Yeah, absolutely, Ted. I mean, what a showing from them as well. Of course, that second map, we came in towards, you know, the pre-show for map number 2 saying, you know, we were a little worried about this being the pick of Wildcard, and well, in hindsight, I think we were right. You know, 13-3, no real competition, only one player, JBA, creeping in towards double digits, going 10-14. There's nothing really we can say in a positive note, unfortunately, for the Wildcard side, and it does make us question that pick.
I mean, in the end of the day, I don't really feel like we could be too critical of Wildcard, right? The fact that, as you pointed out, there is quite a margin between M80 and all the other North American teams right now. This is a pure fact, right? I guess you're looking at complexity and you're saying maybe they can be competitive, and then everyone else is probably going south of Mexico, right? South of the border, going into South America. So, yeah, I feel like if you're M80, you're a solid project, a solid team with a lot of clarity on how you want to proceed, and apparently some quality preparation going into this season and some great results, a lot of momentum. With Wildcard, the situation is just too chaotic, right? We don't really know what is going on. It kind of feels like the players don't really know what is going on. Changing in-game leadership, players going out, players coming back in, other guys going out. So I don't feel like we can look at Wildcard and say we're expecting them to have a deeper map pool. I guess this is just the amount of maps that they can play and the maps that they usually feel comfortable with. It's just a little bit unfortunate that the maps that you like playing are the maps that M80 like playing, and unfortunately right now they are the far better team.
I don't know about you, Tony, but ultimately I've got to kind of disagree with Ted there. I think you can be very critical of Wildcard, right? They've made some questionable roster moves. They were a side that were very, very competitive. You brought it up in the pre-show as well. They've actually been able to beat this M80 side on LAN, right? In a best of 3 series, pushing the distance whenever they do. And now, since they've made these changes, they're looking 10 times weaker than they were. So I don't know about you, but I feel like you can be quite critical of them.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I don't mean to be super tinfoil hat, but I just want to give my 2 cents on like what is happening right now in this team, because I think, or at least feel, that they're just going to try and get the VRS core with the appropriate maps played between the 5 players, and then maybe we'll see another shift of probably 2 players out from Wildcard, I'm thinking. And this is something that, again, is a little speculatory, but it seems a little bit phoned in, obviously, for reasons that I don't need to explain, as we already have. And the players also seeming very dissatisfied with either the organization or the matter in which things have been handled in general. I don't foresee that this team will be the one that we get for the remainder of this season, in my opinion. And with this being the result that they get, looking how dysfunctional that they did at some points, looking how uninspired they did at some points as even individuals, where we can rely on somebody like JBA, I'm frankly a little bit upset in the same way as you are, Neo, and I will say that it is disappointing, but I think that there is good reason behind it for either the organization's party or the players themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hope is that, I guess for the players who are sort of in the long-term ideas of the project, you're probably looking at individuals like, I think in particular, Peeping and JBA, right? I think especially with the way they've been playing, super solid. I think Peeping continues to prove himself despite the lackluster results. He actually does look really solid, but you know, it's going to be a tough one. I don't even know how long it is until that VRS gets locked. Is it 3 months from right?
I thought it was like something. I don't really fully understand it, but I was reading somewhere people were saying like 5 games with the full 5 or in VRS games.
If that's the case, that feels very like small, but fair.
It does.
I think it's a little bit more, and we surely wouldn't have played so many games with Jax if it was just 5 games at the start of the year.
I thought it was like a couple of months, but
I think it's specifically VRS ranked games.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that had anything to do with that or not, but
maybe. But I mean, you know, we're in a spot where,
educate me, please, because I would like to know.
It's still going to be a long road to getting this side back to being competitive, and you know, it's in a weird spot now for Wildcard, and I think this is quite indicative. I think, you know, if we rewind the clock 6 months and we're looking towards the tail end of the year, start of this new year, we're coming in towards this series. It's up in the air, tough to predict. You know, we're looking at kind of Fuzi and Sus putting up like really good numbers. Stan calling masterclasses each and every game, and we're saying this is a side that actually can break down M80 and have done it multiple times. Now we're sitting here and saying they're not even in the same stratosphere, right? And this is where I feel like you can be quite critical of this side. But on the flip side, for M80, made a roster move, and as much as I liked Rec, we can just see, even for that map alone, Hex, what an upgrade in terms of firepower, right? This guy's so solid, he's so confident, and I think he's going to add a lot towards the team, not only in the server, but outside of the server too, right? You know, another voice that is going to get loud alongside Lake when they inevitably make it towards lands as well. This is a kind of an exciting, like, dark horse side now.
Really quickly, just to actually like clarify, because I was curious and I just looked into it. The reason why NIP had Jax was for wildcard invites to Blast. That was why they had him on the roster, not for necessarily VRS reasons. But, you know, I guess that does feed into the question, is there a VRS reason going on right now we don't know about? I mean, it could very well be. I don't know.
We'll have to find out. Either way, that is our show done. A pretty quick 2-0, all things considered, as M80 make light work of Wildcard, and they book their spot to the final, the 16th spot as well in that next stage here in Thunderpick. It's been a pleasure, fellas. Thank you very much for joining me and everyone at home. Thank you for watching. 2 for now from all of us here at Thunderpick on the NA series. Thank you and good night.
you know, I don't know if their best chance onto a Mirage here. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Paladin reaching onto an Overpass, but like right now, it's this Dust 2 that I think they should have, you know, maybe have that challenge on. Who knows? Exotic, he's been so deadly, especially on these pistol rounds. When I got to watch him, I mean, all of these times been coming down to where this gets in its wit's end, and his teammate right here in Pit has had so many praises about him. He goes back and forth with Nitro here as they survive in the site. Exotic with the double, and there's only one casualty out here.
I don't know, man. OC wasn't that bad. That is a if that's how it went
great.
down. No, he wasn't. He failed big in the major.
And they couldn't forgive him. So, gave the turn to Exotic. Bro, he's going to be clipping at the wit's end of this. George on his way to retake. Misha and Arias to get their hands on a post plant. Dinked. And George, he's going to have to think about this one twice. He's trying to serve up a little bit of room here. He's got a flash in hand for these players here at lane, potentially. Now they are ready to go. Arias gets this down, but it's all onto Misha, the closer. And he's going to get fought from both sides. It's Carson that's going to have to go and take the head off. He does. Immediately flicks right onto the bomb. Has a 3-0 opener for NRG. 30 seconds, and I feel like I was trying to cue that up way sooner because 25 seconds, and where is this pop? They're waiting for the smoke to go out, and now you get the comeback from lane. So they were just trying to pedal this to the patience, and they have a late Moto smoke out. George has got one, finally burned and turned by Misha. It is Nitro, same vein, and they clean up Exotic because of the missed smoke. This is going the right way for Aether, even where it gets scrappy.
Move on this, but otherwise, Aether have packed this one up. To go order one round, please.
Ooh.
And they walk out with their meal. But yeah, I don't know, man. NRG had a 4 stack today, and like you said, the timing was such that it looked like Aether really wanted to go, and then they couldn't go because of that smoke. So this is a very awkward, not very popular position that Exotic currently has with this op. It's very much his style.
Likes it up close and personal, and he's gonna get back. An opening kill scurrying away. In a minute and 10. What I hear about exactly how they like to get down is the same sort of peak here at Car. It's aggressive. It's unpredictable.
As George joins the fray. Bro's defense set up. There's no flashes, just these smokes to work their way in, and they double smoke CT.
We'll flash over. It's Bro that is now gonna bide his time. Waiting for a peek. What a stab out here by the Great Dane. Misha can breathe for another couple of seconds, but he has a sense about it. The 6th of it. Gonna hop on for the 5th here soon. NRG are in gear today. It is Clip, Sarah, and Arias that have had big maps in its path to playoffs. You're gonna have to beg for him today, like Sandman had on this Nuke. Here comes George to compute. He's got a triple, and I think he was about to find the quad. Micro just fades away for a moment. Punisher already came through. Bomb
so
just picked
easy.
back up, but
It's
I don't
so
think they
easy
have
for
time
George.
at all.
No, they don't. They're probably just not doing much of anything.
Comes Nitro approaching it. Arias on that other side. Gonna have to work hard for it. Exotic also misses. Could be tripped up on this op. Tender standing in the fire. We'll find this kill. I believe they were still missing him for one day. Then the the coach had to play in the advanced match, and it was really just a heartthrob. Or it was the Elite Cup, excuse me.
Yeah, that's right. Good
All
entry.
these leagues now, I can't keep track.
It's getting difficult. Misha, Tender, and Arias all down low, but Micro has already put the question of a retake to bed. Micro getting that kill means that George and Nitro just tuck tail into the apartments. I have not seen them at the very minimum. I apologize if they've flown under the radar for me.
Like they have a cool logo. That's step 1 of making an organization, you ask me. Get that trade out towards brackets. 2 kills now in a row here for Aether, as there's no trade top of B. Bro hangs on and has survived on an island so well separately, but now he's cut to bits. It's Nitro all alone. It's going to be here towards A, potentially with this knife out behind Tender, but squares up here and has a nice shot. Best IGL in North American history has got a nice double out here before he fades away.
You only want to create one like move like that at the same time. They are flashing themselves to retake Banana, and at the same time they're flashing to get George into an aggressive position over at A.
RAS needs to pull one. Unfortunately, it's Nitro that escapes off the top of the deck right there. And Carson holds this into the pit. It's Nitro that is acting as such in a good, aggressive tail right here. Back and forth. He now waltzes into the brackets as this thing finishes 10-3. Quite a start here.
And they had all of that in 30 seconds with utility too. And they just basically timed themselves out. NRG start making moves because there's just no time. They got to figure out where the play is happening. It's kind of everywhere.
Lackadaisical there for Micro. Attempted quick scope. Not lying. And see if the rest of this B play is lazy. On its current emphasis, they're going right through the Molotov. You need some backup here, and they sweep up well. All into the pan. It's Misha has to break it apart alone. He even gets flashed on it. It's a rough look. Misha gone with the win, but Tender's bullets carry a certain type of flow. This would be one hell of a start to a 1v5, and it's Tender that's going to sit up top, waiting for these fights to come to him.
Throws low. Kits for plenty. Exotic and Nitro both have theirs. They're all coming separately. They just need to coordinate the timings.
I mean, he's just trying to prepare for one hell of a highlight. He gets the swing out for the 4 HP Dane and can't land one bullet. Bro hops on the defuse, locks up an 8th here for NRG. And a good attempt out there by Tender. Not sure how he got picked up after Flo did step back. Talon and Misha stepped back about a month ago.
Yeah.
Lots of change. Coming out of the player break, that's natural though. They're running this up. Micro has found Carson. They are not letting them get too crazy out here on B. Vincent, I'm going to say it again because I said it before. Bomb into spawn right here in the Thunderpick playoffs. That is not something that is going to benefit you.
No. It shouldn't be a big deal. Hold on a second. Another missed shot from Exotic. Never mind. No biggie. George had tracked 2 down. But on 30 health, this one's pretty much settled. Misha? Trying to bite off a little more than he can chew, I think. The smoke. Not going to be disrespected immediately. He thinks it over. Still should be unlosable for Aether, but with the final round of the half, George is going to give it the old college try, see what he can facilitate.
For the last round of the first half, George approaches, sits calmly in a smoke, but there's about a third of this left, and now spotted, missed AWP shot here. Nay, that goes further, but Tender takes a second peek, and he's not letting that one go.
Bro's getting a lot of space at B. Depending on how successful he is, he might pull the rotators off of A. Yeah, no success, sorry. It was meant to be an A-pop the whole time. Bro was just seeing what he could grab.
They're equipped for it. Dooley's in the right place, but George, his bullets are finding the right time. Carson, and now George back to back. A tale as old as time on the Choco check. Now they're here wearing the orange of NRG.
The real throwback. Micro and Clipzera gonna have to do some heavy lifting to get back in. The good news is they have the kit.
NRG.
Nitro. The fact that they get confirmed information, that's helpful, but these pit positions are deadly.
They can just solace all of the hope out of the beginning of this. All the way is headed that direction. Clipzera is, waiting to find a couple of Kevlar holding players into a distance. This one crossed off the board. It's a really good turnout here in this Inferno by NRG.
10-4. Look at the guns out, but it's not exactly perfect. Misha's lacking utility. Arias and Clipsera have sacrificed firepower to get theirs.
Really slow burn out here for Arias and Misha, and unfortunately, he will falter once more. There's Exotic seeing through on a rifle. The B site broadened, and they are going to carry their luggage right in. It'll be a swipe at the front desk all the way
in the next round. The real problem for Aether isn't that fact. That's okay. It's that I'm doing the math, and 10 plus 1, that does equal 11. We're getting deep into this game where Aether are starting to run out of chances very quickly. I think you're correct on all accounts. Still the worst map in the pool, though. Not even close.
In a time in which the pool has got some good maps, so...
True. Hall's Pop you were talking about? How about now?
Yep, they're gonna have to dive right out or try and stand on it. Look at that type of angle that Exotic gets it to grab. And Nitro, he just feels that one. Micro on the other side of the wall is gone. So it'll be 12 to be just netted here, as it's Arias and Clipsera that should get away with the guns, but something is telling me that that is not in the thought process, as Bro sees around the corner. Make sure Arias is dusted with nothing to say about it. I mean, it's a little bit lackadaisical here from Aether, and I don't know if you're going to get this, like, last weird Hail Mary burn attempt into a map that, LAG had a couple of times on that first map, and then reaching into that Inferno was, like, really one of the only reasons why I think we are giving them more of the benefit of the doubt to have a chance there, and I think that's what you're going to have to see a little bit here from Aether, but so far no signs. Not going to be spicy enough until you get this bomb here. But look at the undercut. Look at what is coming towards them. It's George not expecting it. Nitro, he's going to have to bend to the wheel right now. And Arias is just under the feed, but not far enough on the ramp. Nitro taps and has 2 heads.
They're going to be very unexpected. This push coming back. Carson's kind of watching for it, but Micro hits the shot. The second in the round. Nitro up to the clutch. He needs 4 total. And this repositions perfect for Micro. 3 kills. He's the triple threat from 3 different locations.
I think I responded to that kind of poorly from Paladin, and I said Micro and Tender. Those guys have brought the structure the entire time. I think that's more of, what I said. But I feel like that's not what he was asking. I feel like, you're still getting that performance right now, but you're missing something from the rest of the group that, I did point out was a little bit inexperienced, and, make up for that with opportunities like this. You get the opportunity to play NRG in a Thunderpick playoff. Well,
juggle things around. The op now going to be posted over onto the B site, and in transition, NRG still yet unmoved.
There's a gunfight that Bro wins. And at this point, it's all going to be distraction, because they know it really is coming here. Nitro and his squad, they literally can clear out the B site. They can hit you up on A. It is a full takeover of this Inferno. Aether's map pick was fool's gold right there, as Nitro's squad has a stamp right on it.
Yeah, no doubt. I also think that, NRG, Paladin leaned into a lot of the positives there. We'll get into that. Clipsera going to be the first to take the task here to try and hold him off, and it's Arias with support that does some heavy lifting. Still alive. How is it possible? He's 3 HP. Cut down at the final moment. Exotic is going to have to find a 1v3.
Got the cover to do so. He's here at the bench and finds one head. Don't you dare give Exotic the chance to sit here and dance. These are some slick shots coming out of the other side of this A1S. All you hear is shells falling out of the silenced pistol. 50 seconds he has to wait right now, as Misha just is terrified on the other side, as Exotic drags his blade, but it's Misha that has one for you as well. He's got some heart for it. His 3K is the one that pays off. That obviously seeming to the next up team, but they're not here. It's Aether we gotta worry about. Arias just put up on his stint off the off angle, and he is just gonna feel back to his feet in pain. Misha just on time with the rotation. Takes a good, confident fight first. Leaves it into a 2v2 because Tender just found Bro.
Micro hoping for an exit.
Molotov won't be stopping anybody, I'm afraid. Micro to survive with his life. Trying to pick on ladder and find a response. HE doesn't loosen that let. Arias doesn't get ticked by the Molotov either. Skating this well. Carson on this aggression. He finds nothing. It is a trio out here for Misha that he lines up and cuts to pieces. George right here waiting in the wings, tries to hop out. It's a 4K out of Misha. He sees back into Thunderpick for the very first time in competition since the end of March, and he is putting himself back on the map.
That skill's still there. NRG. 2 smokes. Right side smokes is what it's going to be. The flash not yet coming, but bomb plant is the goal. Exotic is going to get Tender, and so trouble a brewing.
Misha continues to go ahead and just be a terror. This is what I was worried about. Somebody taking that leg up, that next step here on Aether. Leaving one hell of an indent. We got 3 players out here on this A bomb site, and Micro having a hell of a time finding his way into the ticket booth. NRG. They have already hit purchase on this, already going for the swing. Nitro, he's going to be capped for it, and now it's all down to clip Zera to clutch, who smokes out one of these angles, and now just is more paranoid about Carson, so it seems. No kit either, so he's going to have the 10-second defuse, which is just about to become impossible. Bro swings out and get that second round up on the board for NRG himself. Can't quite get his hands on the op, too far away.
No information whatsoever until they start to fight mid now.
Nobody home. They'll have to come back later. NRG, no such plans. Misha will have to attend. Everybody getting brought back. There's a reason to leave this alone. Running into the numbers. Hold on a second. Just piped up. A huge amount of confidence in this CT swing. Don't ignore. Exotic is going to be all alone now and needs another clutch here in this Mirage. He's left with 2 health here, so going to have to be pitch perfect. So it's Micro working alone. And with coverage on this bomb, all he has to just do is stay in stick. When does Exotic buy what Micro has to sell? He just keeps it on the shelf. All the way dusted on, never buys it all the way out. It's Micro that will continue to stock.
After losing the first man, I don't know. That was a little bit weird for me. We'll see if NRG are punished long term.
Tender right in front of that smoke. He may just be overlooked. Yeah, right. Not when Bro's right here to take the fight. A double entry out of the Great Dane again. NRG back into the A site. Not much has changed on their plans. And you can really not even repeat that statement without acknowledging failure CT before. They take it a little bit slower, Vinny. It's Aether that will be humbled on this set. Micro's too far to get involved, and hopefully Libzera will find some peace. Oh no, not this from Micro, but that is a very, very great find right now. Thankfully, he's near to where this A play is going to go down as the connector manager. Comes all the way through. He has no vision. Tender here with a lowly 5-7 in the sight. Jumping right to his level is George. Good trade for that. And on that cover, Misha sneaks through and has a good kill. How aggressive do Aether want to get right now as they see NRG into the A site? Real estate, it's going to have to be handed over. And now they're considering the fight's the next level. Micro ready for it on this adjustment. They have a good hand, and it's Misha finally turned out here, but he's all the way up to 15. We can net those records in a moment because it's Nitro up for a clutch, but it is Cap that is exactly done on that.
A little oopsie on that one. I was going to say the conditioning towards A at the very minimum is going to maybe pay off here.
MEC Utility weirdly holds a couple of players. What the hell is happening? They're getting held in place. And Arias is just blown to bits. George dealt with it there on A, one spade at a time. I mean, I don't want to pitch that direction and ruin anybody's energy, but I mean, Aether have given you the reason to believe because of this guy right here. Misha sits at the top of connector. Oh, and unfortunately, he'll just be decked by this flashbang and almost connects one kill. It won't actually protrude, but it will be Micro that does exactly that from CT. Looks up to try and just visit a second here as Tender about to get busy as well. He pops up at the top of Apex, but at the same time, as Misha takes his peek, rather Micro, he finds nothing on this, but a brief man advantage as Bro is toting the bomb and getting ready for a cat peek. What else does he search for here? A little bit of cover.
It's a big smoke to find. I was really worried about how they could facilitate a bomb plant. Now they can. But the CT players have repositioned. Both go jungle. Tag team with Clipzera. Look at the utility. Micro's got a smoke for the bomb, and Clipzera's got another one too, should it be necessary. Bro, he gets towards CT. They've got Carson at ramp. This is all about the duels.
Bro, he needs to line them up right here. All the way on for an ace, potentially, because there's nobody else getting involved in the site. Bro, he's found his fourth, but he does not have it for the fifth.
Kid?
He picked up a kid on the way, and Micro, he hops back on the bomb in just barely enough time to make it a 7-5, and an advantage, not for NRG, but for Aether on NRG's map pick. They're playing with it all to lose. I mean, at this point, on this pistol, rather, I'll rephrase that. I mean, with it all in their pockets, I mean, they got a good look about this. They got a lead. They are just taunting NRG on this Mirage. Misha jumping to his feet, but it's Bro right alongside, and he has to stand with Nitro. George arrives, and they are just slaying them out. It's a slaughter and a triple from George at the back of Empty Pillar. Too often, I think you'll see too much fooling around here. Gotta produce as many gun rounds as you can. It's like you pointed out, these type of opportunities, they don't want to wait around and mess about for that. They're going to straight up take these fights in middle confidently, and they're waiting on Exotic at the right side of window. Thankfully, they have a smoke waiting about and even can further this into ladder. Now, that's one way to further this setup and not have it immediately break apart because of the aggressive middle stint.
Arias got to be careful, almost exposed there as Carson grabs another one. Smoke seems to be a no issue for him as Bro drops the bomb. There's more to be had, but Tinder and Misha. Sorry, just Misha. And it's all quick to end. NRG posts up a confidence building round. Got a very clear shape to it, Mark. Aether want to go A. It's an A split happening. They gotta get the bomb.
Oh yeah. Really good start here. Make it even better. Micro, something was flowing through his veins that caused the canvas of an end to round 16, but this one looks even prettier. 2 versus 4 right now. Exotic and Nitro, they stare back. Maybe some heroics out from one of the most newly wedded members of NRG onto this roster. Misha is going to find Nitro, and dude, Misha, all right, my friend, pulls up with the one tab, head turned, and he will not leave it on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, having a pretty absurdly good game right now. Exotic gonna put it into him. The hope is just to hold on to this op, and he, well, might do that. Micro's already searching, but Exotic about to pick up an ace in a losing effort. Great work from Micro. Great work from Misha, but they need more.
We're going to be sprinting this up the catwalk right now. Contact made, and they can't quite tap on the head of Carson. Bro at that next level is not going to let you pass. And it's just a tripwire of a setup here on B. Nitro right down below. Still going to make this happen. Potentially even find a triple here as Micro jumping to his death and finds it here on the site. Now you separate by 2.
Have anything in form of depth right now on this map. And I think that's almost certainly likely to being, with a couple of subs. But it's fast, it's aggressive plays, it's, simple attempts. That's all they can proliferate forward. Misha versus the world.
Takes a good fight on a Nitro. But it's Bro on standby. And he finds his European connection out there. Misha, a Russian Canadian, or I believe he may have been. I don't actually know for sure. I can't say that, but I was gonna say I believe he's from Russia originally. I may have heard that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, putting him down quickly after he picked up those 2 kills.
Exotic with a quick opener. Maybe can revisit this. Carson gone, so is George. Exotic sprinting back. Bro, outside of his wheelhouse on this A site, is going to have to make it work. It just doesn't add up. This 1+1 effort. It's going to have to be 2 to save here as NRG, as Nitro and Exotic still kicking around. Jungle, this A site. I'll have a swift exit.
Exotic has the money regardless, but not everybody is so lucky, is so fortunate. Well, that's actually a little scary. Exotic at a flash makes contact with him. Now they step forward. Hold on. Things are getting very fast, very quick into this. Thankfully, we'll stop the bleeding. At no point putting eyes or defuse onto that bomb. Nitro goes down. Unfortunately, miscalculated how deep that bomb was going to blow up. Clipsera thinking that there's an opening here. He's absolutely wrong. Nitro doesn't get another one though, but Bro does. Exotic is on the other side. 12 looking likely in a 2v4. Oh, can't quite connect onto the head of Tinder.
Zone smoke down. Exotic needs to reposition, but the rotation is on. Bro right next door. You have just got this through market as well. Exotic picked out, and now in the paint, it's a 2v2. And how is this turned so sour? A 4v2 turned into a 1v2 for that exact side. Carson spaces out, and he's got a first, and on that knock, he tried to just connect. It was magnetic onto that try, but now it's all separated, and Tender sits on high pitch, and he will just scream into a 10th round. A triple from Tender. It is Aether that continue to delegate in this Mirage.
A duo that qualified to ECL together that now brings up the rear of this A exec.
Exotic finds Tender, and this is how you exactly want the origami to fold on that first step. He's sticking up there inside of the palace and has a bit of coverage if he does want to fade away. Clipsera, he's at this chipping bargain for it, and there is going to be no response out of Exotic right now, so it's NRG. They are held out of wit, but look at how Misha, he's breaking in the back. He's got that, and 26 kill up to his resume as the bomb is roped up right here. Nitro is going to tiptoe his way into CT. They've got a secured plant for this from Nitro and from Exotic, as Exotic repositions to a ramp.
As it's been heard, Arias turns, obviously worried about the reposition. Exotic goes down. Arias slow to start this game, but he might close with a perfect look. Nitro's got a smoke, he's got a molly, he's got a flash, but he doesn't have a kit currently. I see one now that he's about to pick up. He does confirm that audio for Arias, and now the 1v1.
He's got to just hop on the bomb straight up, needs to make the cold call. That's what you pay the big captain to do, and go ahead and tip your hat. He even gets the knife on that. That's personal to Misha. He's calling him out. No type of performance you got will best what we got over here on NRG. It would take the world right here to force overtime. That's how it feels. but it's Nitro. He's gonna be off the back of his heels on this and should have been caught by a MAC-10. Don't you dare give this man more magic in the universe. It is Clip Zera that says, not in today's times. Getting this bomb down, and it will be George that is gonna try and make them as uncomfortable as he can. There's no post plant to be attempted here if he has anything to say about it, but this bomb is down whether they like it or not, and Arius is gonna have to stand with Tender, who has already had a clutch just beating out of the B apartments, because that's where they expect him. They have no flank right now. Carson, he's going to see into Van, and where's this clue? Up from Catwalk. Now they've confirmed. And Tender, he has made it all the way down to a 1v1. George sees up a nade. That's online. It's just too far. Tender sees out on that timing and has it going further than regulation. Either we are going further than the 24.
If you just look at the kills, like do some math real quick. That should tell you how unreasonable this is. That Aether have pushed this to 12 and have pushed this now into overtime. Gonna go out A. It's gonna be perfect. George is the only one here. Oh, how absurd to take that fight again. Micro can't believe that he's lost out.
George slipping back on that triple, and it's just a simple play out here. They try to contact into A site. You're looking at one of the most self-sufficient players in North America here in some time. George not going to give you any land to go ahead and get this down, but in a 2v4 they just had out from regulation, out from impossible. Stand on this front. Bro will just punt them all the way out. Two heads put together and now separated. It's a 13th that NRG finds first, but hey, they couldn't find it in 24. They are going to need 4 more of those.
The hottest rifler, NRG, we got more to come through. Aether getting themselves mid-control. Micro's there with basically no cost, but Exotic holds the line.
As the bold decision is stay at Van, and fortunately has a quick miss, but it all doesn't matter because the cavalry arrives. It's Nitro that provides such support on a triple.
Once again, the majority, it's the same round. It's the exact same round. Aether won it back.
They like something about this call so much that they did it 2 times in a row. And right now they're getting out on this site and dodging, ducking in between Nitro spray. It is a Micro that will put away 2 on his stint, but it's Bro that they can't possibly subtract in. They can't possibly predict this. You may have just rubbed shoulders with them, and that might be the only clue. Dane has gotten past, and now he should have both. A fumble of the bag, and unfortunately Exotic is gonna have to pick it up. A nade, a Molotov that's gonna go deeper, and let's see what the new kid arriving back on the block has got something to say. He's gonna have to attempt this. This is the end of the first half of overtime. See if he can do it in the clutch.
Massive fumble from Bro right there, and a massive fumble from the utility. That should have been 2 kills with 1 grenade. That Motley could have been another one. Instead, he's got a 1v3. And they go together, a pack of wolves that fly as a full unit. Aether steal away around. Fully cordoned off, can't be fighting any further forward. Carson, this would be to sell a sort of fake to potentially cut off rotations as well, but Misha, fortunate to be live. Now they get to go, but
cancel it. They're going. They're diving in this site, Vincent, and they are going to find a awaiting Micro, and they should have this on the back end if Exotic doesn't take care of it. No question. Flip Sarah jumping for it. He's gone Rambo for this with the AUG mobile. George going to have to do way more than just toad up a chance about it on Catwalk. You are not going to be expecting this. You realize it's a free kill, and Carson may have just heard that on the back end. It's Tender. He has to work with so many timings, but can't even really rely on his instinct. Better trust your gut after all. Smoke on the bomb, and this is heat-seeking towards George, and kaboom! It's all the way on you. A tied game, and he hits you dead in the paint. 14 all. Aether continue to bring it from where? I don't really know, but they continue to go. It is quite an energy that NRG cannot match.
Ridiculous jump swing there from Tender. I mean, seriously, what the hell was that? And as you said, the nade, perfection onto George. There's no closer.
It's got to be tilting. Tender seeing out of this feeling, and he almost transfers. George has it on. It's 2 versus 4 right here, and this should be 15 for NRG. Seeing in the point where you're sitting in this type of advantage, loudly rotating into CT. We've all calmed down. If it wasn't Tender connecting up top there, then I don't think there was a world. I don't think there was a way. Nitro tried to do this himself.
They're gonna double their opportunities right here and now. Arias walks out of spawn with 70 health, gets a knife in the back to begin with, and he zooms in, zooms forward. Incredible flashbang. Is it enough? They continue to step in. They want him. They want him bad.
What?
They will not leave without Exotic's head, and it's at the cost of all their lives.
Bro will take NRG off of the spike right now because that looked like it was irrecoverable. Micro and Clip Zera that hang about. But nothing is going to stop the bomb from getting to A here. Nitro should be caught down below. Clip Zera gets his hands on an easy one. But a post plan about to be prompted. And 2 of NRG's finest set to take care of it.
So much utility. Smoke's problematic for Clip Zera. There's a molly for George. If he's the last man to take the contact, Bro is here. Hard fight. And they're not together. Aether separated. From Ramp, from Khan. Who is first up to bat?
George just saw onto that stairs player. He's freaking out now. Has to go ahead and turn tide. Molotov onto the bomb. And it could be too much for Clip Zera. Finds the headshot onto George. But now it is done. It is dusted. It is NRG that will find themselves in our second semifinals. Will they go against very familiar opponents? They will see Wildcard there. In a match that can reach the quality of a grand final. Those are 2 of the biggest names we have in this tournament. Look, we had a lot to unpack there, Vincent. Obviously talking about one hell of an offseason for Wildcard here, but let's get into the Veto a little bit more. The difference here is that LAG, Vagrants, before in this matchup, they banned this nuke. This time they let it through. They banned a Dust 2. That was us questioning whether we were going to see it in the series. They denied that claim, so they challenged on to a nuke that was a labored force versus Party Astronauts earlier in this tournament. So the IGL up to bat early, and unfortunately put down by the pole.
Sandman next up, and he doesn't have very much to say about that. Andrew arriving, Mason on the scene, and, well, it's just Mason, unfortunately. He's all alone. Friend has picked up 3, and they're going to run him down. That's Wildcard at a pretty brisk pace, setting the tone. It doesn't necessarily mean, especially with a lag team that I think is, like, knocking on the door of being able to, like, make upsets on, you know, teams that were previously well under Wildcard stature. I just feel like that's still going to be tough.
They're going to be forcing out A here, and these SMGs, they're going to clock in early. They actually pick apart exactly where they were meant to task. On to 1 kill at a minimum, they do that, but they're not getting much more. Sonic, he's going to be just pouncing Brett back again. And the investment here, or the only last link they can really kind of stand on here, is Andrew maybe trying to reach out of the smoke here and stir the pot. But it was on that Inferno that it was a player like Peeping that really struggled, dude. That's not going to happen twice in a row. This is not a rifle you need to be worried about here. Now it's Wolf in the clutch, and he's not going to be tracking this one down. Friend and Peeping right back to back to get this one done. The new pickups for Wildcard, who's obviously not here with us today. But that's where that, you know, longtime link came to kind of reconnect back on this roster. And kind of, you know, riffing back in the Veto conversation. It's the slip up here, man. It's a Dust 2 that I'm not sure what exactly the reason is for it. You know, being a point at which LAG decides to cut it out. And I think we were all kind of seeing in the green room that it's a shaky bound for all across the Veto right now here for Wildcard, but especially on that Dust 2. It's been rough for them.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, you know, there's a question to answer. It's about comfort. This is a comfortable map still for lag. So, fortunately, mid-round, early 1-for-1 was pretty positive for the CTs. Now, Peeping has removed another one. Great trade. Wolf has been able to collect, and that's Andrew who has his back. Pushed into lobby, works a treat. Now, friend to JBA. Gonna try and correct the record. This is pretty tough considering